Carla. Good evening. Calling the meeting to order for March 19th. This is Farmington Hills Planning Commission. And we need a roll call.
Commissioner Stimson?
Here.
Ware? Here. Mulligan?
Here.
Lindquist?
Here.
Grant? Here. Brickner?
Here.
Manty?
Here.
And Chair Treflet.
Here. Thank you. Can I have a motion to approve the agenda as printed?
So moved.
Motion,
Okay.
a motion that we approve the agenda as,
First, you're seconding it? Good.
Second.
Okay, got the approval of the agenda. The first item on the agenda is a public hearing, special.
We didn't vote.
Oh, I'm sorry. All those in favor say aye.
aye.
Those opposed, same sign. The first item is a public hearing on special approval 53-3-2025. The location is 29372 Grand River. Are the folks here? What? You want to go first?
Okay, yes, we're going to go ahead and have our planning consultant, Carlisle Wortman, introduce the case and go through the slides, and then the applicant will have a chance to get up and present their case, and we can go to public comments from there.
Thank you, Diane.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Diane. My name is Mike Auerbach with Carlisle Wortman Associates. It's a pleasure to meet you all. My colleague Ben Carlisle would have been here with me tonight, but he had some childcare duties to attend to, so he'll be here at a future meeting. And I know we've got a lot on the agenda, so hopefully we can do a more thorough introduction at a later point. But in the meantime, I'll get right into it. So this is a special use review for an existing gas station at the northeast corner of Grand River and Middle Belt. The applicant's proposing a 1,175 square foot addition to the existing gas station building on the site. They're also adding a gas station canopy, which will involve removing 3 of the 9 existing pumps, reducing it to 6, but adding a canopy on top of those remaining pumps, as well as some other site improvements. So next slide, please. So the site is in the B3 zoning district. To the north is single-family residential, although technically the fire station property to the east extends across the northern property line in a narrow sliver. To the east is the fire station itself. And then across Middle Belt is also B3 district zoning. That is a restaurant, and then to the south, across Grand River, also commercial, is an automotive rental. So as I mentioned, the addition to the building is a 1,175 square foot addition that you see in the purple area on the slide, and it'll be to the rear of the existing building. And the canopy will be to the south of the building, again, with the total number of pumps on site being reduced from 9 to 6. There are currently 3 access drives to the site. The applicant will be closing one of the 2 to the south. And also, so that's the westernmost drive closest to the intersection. And they'll also be narrowing the drive to the east, both of which in our assessment are improvements to site access and safety. The next slide, please. There will be some variances that are necessary for these changes, though. The building already encroaches into the required setback, which is 20 feet. And so since they're increasing that encroachment and also expanding within the setback, variance will be required. From both the rear and side yard setback. The canopy also encroaches into a setback from the right-of-way. So that'll be a separate request the applicants will need to make to the Zoning Board of Appeals. But in an updated submittal, they'll need to confirm all the dimensions of these structures so the ZBA can grant the appropriate variances. There is an existing dumpster on site. It's in a front yard, which is a location that's not permitted. The applicants will be upgrading it, but it'll remain in the same location. So while an improvement that will also require a variance to rebuild the dumpster in the same location. Those for parking requirements, 12 spaces are required and 12 are proposed, but the spaces to the west do encroach into the setback required from the planned right-of-way line. The minimum setback is 10 feet, so that will also involve a variance as well, or require a variance. Corner clearance standards, again, those need to be shown on the plan in an updated submittal. There is an existing sign pole or a flagpole on the site. There does appear to be a ground sign proposed in the clearance area, so that may need to be removed. And additional information needs to be provided about lighting. The ordinance has a number of different requirements for maximum illumination of the lot line, ratio of min to max illumination within the site, also hours the site will be illuminated, dimming, et cetera. So all of those updates will need to be provided. As far as landscaping, the site is only deficient one canopy tree along Middle Belt Road, but otherwise all required landscaping is provided. And in terms of building elevation, the ordinance does have requirements for percentage of both materials and fenestration or windows on street-facing elevations. The minimum requirement for transparency or fenestration is 60%, and only 19% is proposed on both street frontages. So that'll require either plan modifications or a variance from the ZBA. Canopy elevations have been provided. We do recommend that the applicant consider a material such as masonry that would be more consistent with the building materials. And this site is in a location in one of the master plan special planning districts, and the zoning ordinance requires any site in a special planning area to provide public art if the site improvements are of a value of $2 million or greater. So if the proposal, the anticipated construction estimates meet or exceed that amount, the public art will need to be provided. However, the Planning Commission can waive that requirement if any one of the criteria listed in section 54.5.21.6 apply. So that includes whether or not it's feasible, whether the artwork would be in a location where it could be damaged, or there's a number of other criteria that could be applicable, but the primary question is whether the site improvements will meet or exceed that $2 million amount. So in summary, there are a number of outstanding details that will need to be provided. There's also a number of existing nonconformities within the site. Some of the improvements will involve expansions of those nonconformities, so variances will be required. But if the Planning Commission is satisfied with the plan as presented and contingent on at least the public art waiver being determined tonight, the Commission could approve the plan subject to the conditions that all those items are addressed by staff and that the applicant obtained necessary variances from the ZBA. If they don't, then they would need to revise the plan and likely come back here for another review. And that just lists some of the deficiencies.
Joe, ask a question. Are you done, Mike? Mike?
Yes.
I wanted to,
Let me just ask, you're done right now with your
Yes.
presentation? Okay.
Yep.
Joe?
Yeah, I wanted to ask, this public art requirement is a brand-new thing. Okay. When an applicant applies, are they asked whether or not the estimate is over 2 million or under 2 million?
I don't believe it's on the application form right now. I know they would definitely need to provide that with building permits, or with their building permit application.
I'm just pointing out that I think it would be a good idea. There's no reason for us to discuss it if they don't expect to exceed the $2 million. When it comes to a gas station, I have no idea. It's so small, you would think it wouldn't, but, so I just wanted to point that out. Thank you.
Anyone else?
I have no idea.
Okay, I'm going to open the public hearing if that's the case. What? Yeah, is that him? Who's the applicant? You two are, yeah, come on up. Please give your name for the record to the clerk.
Hatham Hanawa, 28124 Orchard Lake Road, Farmington Hills, Michigan.
Jeff Yono.
Okay. Well, let's answer his question first. Is this going to be more than $2 million?
It's going to be a lot less than that.
That's what he was looking for. Thank you. Have you seen this deficiency report that they wrote?
Yes, we have.
Will you be able to fix all of them?
Absolutely.
Okay. Anything else you want to tell us before the hearing starts?
Yeah, just some of the things that the challenges we've had into creating this plan. You know, it's a small site, and you have a small building in 990 square feet, which is not even conducive for a retail establishment. So we're trying to take advantage as much as we can of the property that's left over from the entire property. For example, to the west is the tanks, and those are existing. So we can't build over those. We can't build towards the south because you got the canopy there. So in an offset, we're completely beautifying a Middle Belt Road, as you can see from the site plan, landscape plan. That entire width of the property is all driveway right now. So in meeting with the planning staff and everybody else, the owner decided to, yeah, let's beautify that corner. In addition to closing off that, call it the Westerly Drive on the south side, on the Grand River side. Yeah, it hinders the amount of people we can capture going west on Grand River, but it was a safe thing to do, so we decided, yeah, we could close that off. But the biggest offset is, like I said, Middle Belt Road. The whole thing, the whole property is a driveway. And by cutting it down, we're able to incorporate some landscaping. As you can see from the landscape plan, it's you know, a mixture of plants, a mixture of shrubs and trees. We want it to be nice. In addition to all that, we also worked with the engineering department into, a lot of the water now drains into the road. So in working with the engineering department, we decided, yeah, we will put in some catch basins along the sidewalk there to incorporate a drainage system. I'm just saying what we did, so that way, you know, to give you a better understanding, like what we're coming with this project in terms of making it a quality development. So as we put in these catch basins and tying into the storm system, the engineering department decided that we would need a quality control structure. So we've incorporated that in the drawings. So we've been working very hard, made a lot of modifications to beautify the site, and we're hoping that you can grant us the approval to move forward.
I have another question for you. Where do you expect the tanker to come in and drop the gas in the tank? Which drive?
So in the package that you have, there is a tanker path. A simulation of the truck would come in off of Grand River and traverse through the property and exit out of Meadowbelt. So we did a dumpster path as well as a oil tank delivery.
Now, second question. You're serving food here?
We have, again, with the floor plan, that's part of the package, we showed the interior of the building. We have a very small kitchen. I mean, You can only make like some pizza and stuff like that. It's just, and trying to compete with bigger people out here, you got to have something. I mean,
Right.
so we're sacrificing something else in the retail store in order to be able to provide all these amenities to the customers that come in there.
Okay. Joe?
Yes, I get that this is a very tight site. But the one variance I guess you're asking us to grant is the 60% transparency, and on both streets, you're under 20%. Could you explain the need for that?
So what we've done, I don't know why they have the wrong elevation. We have since then modified the elevations. We've added more glass. I mean, I could show you, but we've added a tremendous amount of glass to the facade. I don't know if I could email it to him or he could post it up there or something, but just to give you an idea, so we have three, here's the.
Well, let me just ask, are you going to meet the 60% now?
I don't think I can meet the full 60%.
But you can be darn close.
I have a lot more glazing, yes.
Will you be over 50%?
I don't think so.
Will you be over, you will be over what percentage?
About 25%. And the reason why is because there's, it's like, again, a small building, so we have some coolers along that wall in order to get, our.
You mean the middle belt wall?
No, not Middle Belt Wall. Middle Belt Wall, there's a
Right, you have
liquor shelf
coolers
there.
along Grand River, okay.
Yeah. So there's a liquor shelf along Grand River, along Middle Belt, and there's coolers along Grand River. So I don't know how he feels, but we could technically expand the glazing over the liquor shelf where people can see it, just like they did at that gas station on 12 Mile Orchard Lake. I think that's beautiful. But what it does is we're in a different type of location where, you got Grand River, and it could be more subject to break-ins and things like that. So this is something that we would like to do, but I don't think it's possible.
Well, I would hate to grant a variance along Grand River due to the threat of break-ins, because then everybody might want it. But I think what you're saying is one wall's liquor, and we don't really need glass to display the liquor. And then I get the coolers and all that. The important thing was to give you an opportunity to explain
Yeah,
why
thank
you needed the variance.
We are, though, putting in like some spandrel glass, so it looks like it is glass, just to give it that look. But we do have the clear glass above the coolers to bring the sunlight in, but down below, it's the spandrel glass.
Okay, Dale? So we've established you're going to have not enough glass. Clarification, is that something that we make the call on, or is that the ZBA
Yes, the planning commission can grant waivers to reduce the,
on the glass?
yes.
Okay, thank you. Have you penciled the cost of construction on your pre-application before a building permit yet? You said it's going to be under 2 million. Do you have a number?
Yeah, so we do have a budget that we're working with a financial institution, the bank, and we're at about like 450 right now.
Okay,
Because,
less than a half million.
yeah, about 450.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Are you gonna be selling liquor out of the gas station?
Yes.
Okay, and correct me if I'm wrong, isn't there a restriction on being able to see the liquor from the outside? Isn't that a requirement? In other words, if you have glass all the way down, you can probably see the liquor on the inside of the store. I don't think you're allowed to display liquor in a window. Do you know?
Well, that gas station on 12 Mile Orchard Lake has liquor, doesn't it? Yeah, and that's all glass. It's actually a very nice display. So, yeah.
Approved through MLCC.
Yeah.
No, they used to not allow you to display liquor in the windows. That's why I was asking the question. It would be a reason why you would reduce the amount of glass in your store, because you had to follow certain regulations.
We're trying to be honest.
So I wasn't trying to make it worse for you, I was trying to make it better for you.
I know.
Okay. Just that, they used to require that you couldn't see the liquor in the liquor store from the outside of the building. I don't know if that's changed. Do you know if that's changed, Tom? Not big on liquor control stuff, huh?
Well, I'm sorry, Barry, ask the question again, I'm sorry.
Do you know what some of the restrictions are from the Liquor Control Commission about displaying alcoholic beverages in front windows?
I guess I don't know that. I do know that it's going to be subject to control at the state and not here by us.
No, the reason I raised the issue, if they were reducing the glass in the front, one of the reasons might be because they have to maintain restrictions allowed that are required by the Liquor Control Commission. They might have changed that restriction, but it used to be you couldn't display liquor in the window of any establishment. If you ever look to where, if you go to like drugstores or anything else, they never have it in the front, it's always in the back.
Outside our realm.
Okay, all right. Haven't done a liquor control thing in a long time, so I don't know if they changed the law on that. Just asking.
Anyone else? Okay. I'm going to open the public hearing now.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
could you repeat your name?
Jeff, you want to?
Okay, your first name is like Jeff? And then O-N-O?
Y-O-N-O.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Thanks. You can have a seat there in case you have to answer something else. Is there anyone who wishes to speak to this issue tonight here? Okay. All right. Well,
I have a question. I do have a question.
Okay.
You gotta wait till the public hearing's done. You gotta close the public hearing before you go back to the commission.
Is it something you wanted to ask them?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
In reference to the covering, I just been knowing lately there's been a lot of wind and there have been covers on gas stations that are blowing off. I don't know what type of materials or if that's something that has changed with the city, but that's kind of like a concern because that's starting to happen more and more. The covering, the materials, how strong they are as far as with the winds.
As far as the canopy?
Yeah.
That's what you're talking about.
The canopy.
Yeah, the canopy, sometimes, I mean, I know there was an incident here in Farmington Hills, but that's, some of those winds and things like that, if there isn't proper attachment to the structure, the wind will uplift the canopy. So that's done through inspections, and whenever we do a job, we always get third-party inspections, and that's something I work with the inspectors, and that we bring a third party to check all the bolting and the structural steel. So, and some people don't do that, but, you know, you always got to get a third eye on it. And that's what we do. Sometimes they require only for footings, but we do with the welding, the bolting, torques on the bolts, and everything else. So we ensure the owner that the building is going to be safe.
Thank you.
Canopy too.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anything else? Okay, I'm going to open the public hearing. Somebody wants to come up and speak? Okay, seeing no movement, I'm going to close the public hearing. Back to the commission.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Can I ask the city one quick question? This property is uniquely abuts a uniquely shaped city property that is both the fire station and a community center. And we're asked to grant quite a variance. I don't have a problem with that unless the city has a problem with that, and I wanted to give the city an opportunity to weigh in. You can just say you have no issues with it. Whatever.
We have not heard any objection from city departments and staff, including the fire department, who has reviewed it
Did review-
next
yes.
door. They indicated that if there were an incident, they would be right next door to take care of it, so. that was a good-
So, right, so, you know, just as a matter of form, we gave the public an opportunity to speak. I want to make sure the city had an opportunity to speak on this. And then before we get to the motion and all, I earlier alluded to the fact that I didn't want to set a precedent of reducing the amount of glass visibility based on the fear of crime. from an urban planning perspective, I believe that that 60% requirement is there to encourage pedestrians. If you're just walking along brick walls, then you're sort of killing a community. I think in this case, the one building next door that's owned by the city is one that probably doesn't meet the 60%. So that could be a reason for granting the 60%, or it could be the size, but I don't want to have, put us in a position that opens us up to reducing the amount of glass all the way up and down Grand River. And you all talked to the Grand River planning people last month, and I hope you appreciate that, okay?
Anything else?
John, I have a question first.
Mr. Chair,
So,
were you about to make a motion?
no, I have a question for staff.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, I'll wait.
Oh, no problem. Okay, thank you. So as it relates to the canopy and the material, so we have a choice whether it matches the building or not, whether it's steel or what the building is. That's required, right? That's our material requirement under special approval?
Correct.
Okay.
And just to clarify Commissioner Mantry's comment, the 60% is not, doesn't originate from the design standards, the newer portion of our code. It is specific to the gas station use standard. So the commission does not have authority to waive that requirements. It would require variance in this case.
That's what I thought.
Thank you.
So I asked that question. So it's a ZBA, not us. That's what I thought. Thank you.
Barry?
We're in a position where there are certain things that they're requesting is beyond our control and has to be taken up by the zoning board of appeals.
Yes.
Because I know that there was one of the things is they were building right on, basically on their lot line, and there's no setback situation, which we have no authority of dealing with. There's certain things that are on here that we can approve, but there's other things on here that we cannot approve, and they have to go to the ZBA. And I'm just trying to see if that language was in the,
It is,
it's in here?
CBA. And now might be a good time, Mr. Chair, for me to say what I was going to say?
Yes,
Because whoever's making this motion may have a lot of talking to do, because in everybody's collective wisdom, we made the gas stations special approval uses, so now we have to make a longer motion today. So to Barry's point, staff has done a really nice job with the motion sheet that looks like this, which has all the conditions and determinations, like even if we approve it, it still has to go to the ZBA, and you've got a couple choices to make there. But by making it a special approval at the beginning of the motion, and staff also handed the one out that looks like this. This is the one-page list of findings that you need to make. You guys remember from all the trainings, you can't just read these. We have to read the standard and then say why it's met. So with the first one, the proposed use is compatible with surrounding land uses, you could say, because it's an existing use and we don't have any issue with it, and then move on to the next one. So whoever's making the motion, it's a longer motion tonight, and it's going to apply to the one that comes up next, which is why I'm bringing it up.
So where's, Tom, where's that reference of the special approval?
So,
That would be number one.
yeah, so Dale, in the first yellow highlighted part of the motion,
Yep.
it's a referral to this single sheet.
Okay.
So that's where you hop over to that.
Okay. Okay. I'm ready to make a motion. Okay.
So we have the list of items that need to be done. The backside is the list for the public art. We don't need to cover the public art.
Sounded like that one was, yes,
Just the front side.
just the front.
Ready? Take a shot?
Yeah. Okay, I'll make a motion. Let's make sure I got all the material here. I move that application for special approval, site plan 53, 3/2025, dated February 10, 2026, submitted by Adam Han-Nawa, be approved because it meets the standards of the special approval uses set forth in section 34-6.3. Under the special approval use standards, I also find the proposed use is compatible and harmonious with surrounding land uses and/or the orderly development of the surrounding neighborhood. Also find that the.
Hang on. So this is where you have to say.
Hey, I say why?
Because something. So you're reading that standard and you're saying it's met, and you can say, for example, because the use is existing and.
It's an existing use, it's compatible, it's an enhancement, it's improvement, it's economic development, it's all positive. The next one is, the standard is the proposed use will not make vehicular pedestrian traffic more hazardous than is normal for the district. They're eliminating a curb cut, they're controlling circulation, it's an improvement off of Grand River to Middle Belt. That is definitely an improvement. Number C, the proposed use will not unreasonably impact surrounding property in terms of noise, dust, fumes, smoke, air, water, odor, light, and/or vibration and aesthetics. In the public hearing tonight, there's been no demonstration of a negative impact. If anything, with the improvements, we may have improved air, water, certainly issues of vibration and aesthetics. Aesthetics should improve. D, the proposed location and height of the buildings, structures, walls, fences, and landscaping will not interfere or discourage the use of adjacent land and building or unreasonably affect their value. No, this is an improvement of existing use in a business district. If anything, it will encourage more advanced or more redevelopment and improvement in the area with this improvement. E, the proposed use is harmonious with the physical and economic aspects of the adjacent land uses. The almost $500,000 investment in the area will serve as an example to other property owners, encourage them to also invest in their property, making a physical and economical improvement in the area. F, the proposed use is designed, located, and planned to be operated so that the public health, safety, and welfare will be protected. For all the reasons I stated above, I believe health, safety, and welfare will be ensured with this proposed development. The proposed use, G, the proposed use will not cause substantial injury to the value of other properties in the neighborhood and will not be detrimental to existing and/or other permitted land uses in the zoning district. Again, for the reasons stated above, I think this enhancements, this economic development, this investment in this area, and improvement to the site will encourage development in the area and will not be detrimental, but will serve as a positive example of improvement. H, the proposed use will not impair, pollute, and/or destruct air, water, and/or other natural resources. There was nothing indicated through the presentations or public hearing that we would anticipate any kind of pollution to the site. We would expect meeting city standards for site plan development, review by the building department and the engineering department. The proposed use will be an enhancement and those detrimental effects will not be realized. I, the proposed use will not unreasonably burden the capacity of public services and/or facilities. We've had review by police, fire, engineering, and various departments within the city. They have not indicated a negative impact or a undue demand on city services. And J, the proposed use is designed with architectural elements that are harmonious to the design characteristics of the area. The planning commissioners have looked at the elevations and do not find them to be objectionable according to this motion. The approval, I got to keep going, I guess. I got to keep going.
He's not done
He's got to
yet.
keep going.
He's
I'm
just
not
at the
done yet.
beginning.
I apologize, Chair. I got to keep going. Approval and to the public. The approval is subject to the following conditions and determinations. Number one, all outstanding issues identified in Kyle Wortman Associates, March 7, 2026. Review shall be addressed to the reasonable satisfaction of the city planner.
Mr. Chair, you can, since these are written and available, you can adopt these by reference if you want. So instead of reading them,
Okay.
you could say 1 through 5, 1 through 6, and then when you get to 7, you have to make some choices.
Okay, so the approval is subject to the following conditions and determinations. I propose for the Planning Commission for their consideration, adoption of 1 through 5.
6.
6?
1 through 6, thank you. And now I'll read number 7. The commission deems that the canopy constructed of fabricated steel without architectural embellishments, and this is where I'll initiate probably a discussion, is architecturally consistent with the principal building. Number 8, site is in the Grand River Corridor / M5 Interchange Special Planning Area, and public art is required if the renovation consideration, construction is over $2 million, $2 million or more. The applicant in the public hearing indicated that the project cost of construction would be probably under $500,000. I think they indicated $450,000. I don't believe that applies, and therefore it's not included part of my motion. Number 9, signs are not approved with site plan and are subject to the standards in section 34-5.5 of the zoning ordinance. And I think.
I'm going to second that.
I think that concludes the motion. I appreciate your patience.
Nice motion. And thank you, Mr.
Brilliant motion.
Yeah,
I'm going to transcribe it.
he's gonna stay
I don't know whether
hydrated.
it's going to pass.
Gotta hydrate.
Yeah. Yep.
I
All
didn't
right,
vote
we got a
for that
motion on the
change
floor.
No, I just had a question for our city attorney. In the future, we don't have to go A through J on this, we just pick out the ones that apply, correct?
You're theoretically, Member Brickner, supposed to go through all of them. You could probably just, say for standard A, I find
Okay.
that it's met
I mean,
because, but.
What I'm asking though is you don't have to find all of the standards, you only have to find the ones that are applicable to this particular,
You should address all of them.
oh, you should address all of them.
That's what I was wondering if it was.
Okay.
Yes.
It had to be one or all of them or whatever, so yeah, everything. It meets everything.
And
Thank you.
We ready? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Okay, thank you. The next item on the agenda is special approval 6710-25. The address is 27900 Orchard Lake Road. Construct a new fast food restaurant with drive-through within a B3 district.
Thank you. So this is a review of a special use proposal that the commission has seen before for property located north of 12 Mile and on the east side of Orchard Lake Road. The applicants are proposing to demolish an existing commercial structure on the property and build a new 510 square foot coffee shop drive-through business with a detached outdoor storage cooler that'll be 335 square feet. Next slide, please. So the commission last reviewed this proposal in 2025 and did not grant approval at that time because the zoning ordinance requires indoor dining areas of at least, with a floor area of at least 1,100 square feet to be included with any drive-through restaurant use. So since that time, the applicants have requested a variance from the ZBA, which was approved, subject to conditions. Those include that the variance approval for the use, the restaurant without indoor seating, is granted solely to the specific restaurant being proposed. In addition, that the variance is approved subject to Planning Commission review and approval of the site plan in compliance with all ordinance and other applicable requirements. And lastly, that the structure shall be placed in a location indicated on the plans and constructed consistent with the size and configuration set forth in those plans, which is what you see before you. Next slide, please. Oh, and this is what I just mentioned. So I think we can skip that slide. Okay. So this property is in the B3 zoning district. To the north is zone OS2, and the adjacent use is a medical office. To the south is a multi-tenant retail establishment. To the west is the Orchard 12 Plaza Shopping Center, and there's some B3 and B4 district zoning in proximity to the site. And to the east, the zoning is B3, and the use is a parking lot. So the proposed drive-through building is in the approximate center of the site, just to the west, which is one of the larger of the yellow boxes shown on the slides. The smaller is the detached cooler, and the drive-through lanes and interior circulation lanes will circle the building. There'll be 2 drive-through lanes with an escape and an interior circulation lane to the south, which will provide access to the parking spaces. So again, the applicants did obtain a variance to allow the drive-through without indoor seating. Required outdoor seating is not provided, but the Planning Commission can grant a waiver from that requirement according to the section 34.435C criteria. And the applicants have provided a narrative why they won't need outdoor seating. In part that it is just not consistent with how they operate their business and that it would be impractical, but I'll let them elaborate on that. But you do have discretion to waive that requirement for an outdoor seating area. In terms of parking and parking, both of the off-street parking spaces that are required, both for the off-street parking and for the drive-through itself, have been provided. The site, the proposal is deficient to required loading space. The loading space requirement is a factor of the linear footage of building frontage, and so 157 square feet of loading area would be required based on that calculation. So that'll need to be shown on the plan. And it is required in a rear yard, but the Planning Commission has discretion to permit a loading area in a side yard. So that would be something you could ask the applicants to provide more information about, what their anticipated delivery vehicles will be and how exactly they'll access and circulate within the site. In terms of landscaping, 8 parking lot trees are required. The applicants are counting 5 existing trees to meet that requirement and proposing the 3 additional trees. The 5 existing trees are clustered in the western portion of the site, and they're also evergreens. So the commission will need to determine whether evergreens are acceptable to meet that requirement, but also whether any additional landscaping should be provided, given that the intent of the requirement is that the landscaping be distributed around the site. Another consideration is whether additional landscaping should be provided in the area of the pedestrian walkway, which is to the west of the building, connecting to Orchard Lake Road. Next slide, please. The elevations are predominantly brick, although the material coverage calculations have not been provided. Brick masonry is a permissible material that meets the design requirements for elevations facing public roads. There is also, again, that 60% minimum window coverage. This standard appears to have been met, but the calculation wasn't included in the plan. And that's another view of the elevation from the east, and I would need to check which side elevation that is. Next slide, please. So the public art requirement also applies in this case. Again, we don't have the anticipated cost of construction, which the applicants could provide tonight, but if it does meet or exceed $2 million, they would either need to provide public art, or the commission would need to consider a waiver to that requirement. The next slide, please.
Okay, if I could also just point out that it's one or more of those conditions would allow a waiver. It doesn't have to be all of them.
Thank you. So again, as a special use, this would need to meet all of the special use criteria listed in 34.6.3, and the commission would need to make findings that the proposal meets those standards. So in summary, the first consideration is whether the outdoor seating requirement can be waived. The commission, we also recommend the commission ask the applicants for more information about their loading space needs, because the commission approval would be necessary if the loading area is in a side yard. The other consideration is whether the evergreen trees are acceptable, and if additional landscape plantings or a different arrangement of landscape plantings should be provided. But other than that, if the commission is comfortable with the plan, some of the remaining detail items could be addressed as conditions of approval to be reviewed by staff. This is just the layout. Happy to take any questions.
Do we have a cross section that shows Orchard Lake Road, this ingress egress off on Orchard Lake Road, and the extent of that median island, a median that goes out north of 12 Mile?
Cross section is how it was a profile of how it was constructed.
Yeah, or aerial. An aerial you can put up.
I don't believe so.
Yeah, that boulevard's not up that high.
For the public, I want them to see the relationship of the ingress egress to the median and what we're looking at. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for Mike? Okay, I'm going to open the public hearing. If you wish to speak on this topic, come on up here and give your name and.
Oh, sure, I got questions before we public hearing. Proponent? Proponent? You're not going to proponent?
I think the proponent goes first, Jeff.
Proponent
They're the
next.
proponent.
Okay.
So public hearing, or are you talking, speaking with proponent first?
Are you the representative of the coffee company?
I am not.
Could you have a second?
You got it.
You are. Okay.
Good evening. My name is Reed Cooksey with Stonefield Engineering and Design, 555 South Old Woodward, Suite 12L, Birmingham, Michigan. I really appreciate Michael's presentation. Again, we were here in December, so I'm sure plenty of you guys remember what was discussed then, but I'll give you guys a brief overview of kind of Seven Brew and what we're bringing to this parcel. So as it was discussed, we're trying to bring a 510 square foot coffee kiosk. This is a very modern take on coffee delivery. As it was stated, we got a variance for no indoor seating, and that's because we are trying to deliver coffee very fast. It is, there's no menu boards. Everything is done via the app or via an iPad that the employees will come take your order outside. We don't do indoor customers or anything like that. It's very much grab and go, if you will. And when I say coffee, we really only do drinks. There's no food, there's nothing like that. It's coffee, teas, lemonades, things of that nature. So it's a very quick turnaround, and it's a very predictable traffic pattern here. A couple other things I wanted to indicate since we've been back. We've addressed a lot of the comments that staff had previously. There was a couple, but traffic-wise, I know that was a question before. We've revised our traffic study to address all traffic concerns there, as well as we are eliminating left out onto that entrance onto Orchard Lake, which I believe was the most contentious of the traffic turns, which will really help in this congested area to allow access, because we do have access to 12 Mile Road through that rear access drive via easement. A couple other things I just wanted to mention with the, to get out in front of with the comments that you guys may have. As far as the loading space, as you can see, our requirement's about 150 square feet. That's smaller than a parking space. And because we only do drinks, it's really just, think of it as Amazon delivery. They come and they just drop off the mixes and stuff like that for our drinks, the different type of coffee beans, things like that. It's not large semis or even box trucks. It's pretty small delivery vehicles. And generally what they do is they come off peak times as indicated. Can either pull into a parking space, or they'll go to kind of where the trash enclosure is. As you can see, there's a sidewalk there. They'll drop off and they'll walk it straight to the cooler. So pretty efficient, very quick deliveries. They would take place either in the side or rear yards, like I said, off peak hours. As far as the landscaping piece, we are counting the existing evergreen trees. That's for you guys to decide. They are in good health and we would like to keep them and utilize them. As far as the screening along the frontage, a couple items with why we ended the landscaping where we did. We are having to, there's a water main that crosses the site and we're placing an easement over top of it, and that was with discussion with city staff, that runs right through that sidewalk area, as well as that is where an existing storm drain is. So because of that, we're not proposing any plantings over top of it. We don't want to impact both the water and sewer in that area. Most of the parking, as you can see, is in the rear. It's shielded. There's plenty of landscaping. We have a good landscape buffer along Orchard Lake there. So those are kind of why those requests are out there. And as far as the outdoor seating, I kind of explained the operations. Pedestrians can walk up and get a coffee, but generally they don't sit around and drink it. It's on the go. 95% of our, if not 100%, are all done via the car. People in the mornings on their way to work, grabbing coffee, things like that. Happy to answer any other questions you guys may have. We're very excited to be in Farmington Hills and bring this new product to you guys.
I have a question for you.
Absolutely.
Site built or prefab?
The building itself?
Yeah.
Yep, it's a prefab building, so it's a pretty interesting concept. It's only 500 square feet. I would encourage you guys to watch it get dropped off. It comes on the back of a truck, and they basically attach it to like an excavator and pick it up and drop it in, and most of the furnishings inside are actually pre-installed. So construction here goes generally very quick. I know there was a comment about the overall cost for the public art. We're right around $1 million for these sites to be constructed because it's a prefab structure. It's pretty small. Same with the cooler. And then the materials on the side, as it looks, we have, it's a thin brick panel, as well as some metal. I apologize. I have a board that has the materials, and I forgot to bring it, but it's very high quality materials, meets all the ordinance requirements. And then as far as the glazing for the front percentage, we are over 60%. We can add that to the plans and show the calculation, but we do meet that there.
Eric, you have a question?
Yes, for the proponent. So a walk-up customer for this establishment, or bike-up customer.
Or bike-up, sure.
Would never actually go inside.
They would never go inside. There's a window. Yeah, there's a window on the side. They can walk up, get their coffee, and walk and leave.
Thank you.
Yep.
Go.
On that topic, I believe there are 2 hotels across the street.
Yep.
So I'd be happy with just a picnic table on that small lawn, but, to say that we find that you can't do it or that it would not be utilized, I think you can do it, and we would have to find that you can't utilize it, but you've got 2 hotels right across the street, and as someone who stays in a hotel a lot, I know I like to go out and get the better coffee.
Yeah.
But I'm not asking for much. But to me, the big issue here, and I believe that this is something we talked about in December, is that in order to give a special approval, we have to find that the proposed use will not make vehicular and pedestrian traffic more hazardous than is normal for the district. There was a lot of concern that that this was targeting, if you will, morning drivers to work coming south on Orchard Lake, and they would have to cross over Orchard Lake and cross back to get to the freeway, and there's nothing you can do on site about that, but it seems to me that in order to give you the special approval, we have to make that determination, and how do we do that?
Yeah, we are restricting left out, and we are adding a pork shop. That's something we've been discussing with city staff to restrict left out.
Do you intend internal signage then to push them out toward,
We can add signage to, indicate how to get to 12 Mile so they can make the turn movement there. But yeah, there's on-site signage already shown on the plans that restrict left out. And then one of the other things with the revised traffic studies, we are adding the pork shop to eliminate the possibility of an illegal turn there.
okay. Anyone else? Yes.
For reference, would you happen to know what the size of the current restaurant building standing?
Yeah, the Arby's is around 2,300 square feet, I believe, and we're around 500. So we are reducing the overall size of the drive-through that's there. And then the current Arby's doesn't meet the city stacking standards or a lot of the current standards that are there. And we are, obviously meeting those intent. So, as far as vehicular and pedestrian safety, we're improving that significantly. And then, our use, does have peak times in the morning, like it was said, but, with the adjusted turn movements, it's, based on IT data, it's all in the report, it's not going to be more hazardous than if another drive-through user came to occupy the RB space. That would be considered a worse situation.
So it's going to be basically 25% of the current standing building?
That's correct.
That's
Yep.
what you're gonna have. I didn't understand from the designs, but will you move it back a little bit?
The building will be coming closer to Orchard Lake
Coming closer.
than where it currently sits. The Arby's is actually pretty far back.
Right.
By moving it closer, it allows us to get more stacking and a better circulation.
Okay, that was the part I was trying to, thank you.
And may I add real quick about the outdoor seating? One of the reasons why we're always hesitant to put it is because it's such a, vehicular-oriented use. We find that even people that do walk up, they don't want to sit while cars are just circulating the drive-through. They generally get their coffee and leave. That's why we generally shy away from that, just because when it's there, it never gets utilized.
Yes, Tanji.
I have two concerns. One, when you're mentioning about the not being able to make that left turn onto Orchard Lake, they're gonna have to go right. What I envision, and have seen this happen in other situations where you can't go left or right, is that as soon as they make the right, they're gonna immediately try to turn because there's that shopping center and you have access. In the morning, Orchard Lake is already filled. I mean, it's already a lot of cars.
Yeah.
To get to the expressway. So that's one of my concerns. Although you're going to eliminate the left, I think it's going to cause some type of traffic situation and possibility of accidents, of people trying to, okay, I got to get to the expressway this way. I can't go left, so I'm going to turn right and I'm immediately try to get back around.
That is always a concern, people making an illegal turn movement once they're in the right of way, but that's where we have the benefit of having the access to 12 Mile through the rear. So people can go out, make a right on 12 Mile and go to the light and make a
So you
left
will
there.
have access to
Yes,
the rear?
yes, we do have access that access drive's existing. It goes down through the gas station that's there, or to the side of the gas station, and allows people to take a right onto 12, which gets you to the light, and you can make a.
Yeah, I'm picturing it. I
Yep.
know it. Yeah, I understand. And then secondly, you mentioned that most of your traffic will be either people with the app.
Yeah,
so they're driving up, or cars coming and someone's taking their order.
Yeah, so think of it as, the best example I can.
I understand that.
Yeah.
My question is that on here, it notes that there's only spaces for six cars, 6 parking spaces. How do you control if in the morning, I'm sure it's gonna be more than 6.
Yeah, the parking spaces are only for employees. So how it works with the iPad is the employees, so there's not a window that you pull up to and they lean out. It's actually sliding doors. So the employees walk out to your car, whether you're in either lane. So you can be in either lane and get the coffee delivered to you, which allows you to leave whenever you get your drink. And what they do is, as you can see on the plans, there's actually a striped area and a sidewalk that goes along. So employees will be able to identify cars that have, ordered via the app because it has a license plate and description. And if they haven't, they will walk out to your car, take your order with an iPad, similar to what Chick-fil-A does now, where they don't use a menu board. They walk out to you, take the order, and get it delivered. So the spaces are not for customers. They don't pull into the parking space to get their coffee. They just sit in their car. The employee walks to them, takes their order, and then our average throughput time is under 3 minutes from order to delivery. So cars are in and out of the site fairly quickly. That's why, the stacking we show is more than enough. I think we're at 21 stacking spaces. We've shown plenty of times that at peak traffic, we only need 15 for those kind of morning rushes. And so, again, it's a very fine-tuned operation. It's what's allowed 7 Brew to grow to how quickly they've been, is because it's quality coffee delivered quickly. It's kind of how people want it. They don't want to have to wait for the person in front of them to get their bagel or anything like that. And with the 2 lanes, deliveries being able to come to your car whenever you get it, it allows them to peel off into the bailout lane, or, the car in front of them will be gone fairly quickly because there's no food delivery as well.
Okay, and I understand the concept, and it's a good concept. The young folks want it quick and fast, but the location. So if you could just walk me through. So you're saying, which direction will the drive through that you're able to pick up to get them over to 12?
Yes, so it's a normal drive-through operation. So you'd circulate counterclockwise as shown. At where the stop bars are, where you can see those 2 cars sitting, there's a sliding door for the employees to walk out and bring you your coffee. So you can be in either lane to get your coffee delivery. Employees will direct them, if you have a smaller order, we'll direct them, go to the outside lane because your order will be out quicker. And then what they would do is they'd recirculate the site and then leave to the east, which is the right side of the page. And you can see that there's a curb cut there.
All the way back around.
Yeah, and you can, before the stacking lanes go, you just go by the car. And then, like I said, we show stacking in both of those designated lanes for 21 cars. Even at our peak hours, we're only at 15. So we would never have cars stacked beyond the 2 lanes that you see there that would inhibit somebody to recirculate the site.
Right, north. Yeah, that circulation is the basis of my question. So once they get the coffee at the stop areas, you're expecting them to circulate back to the east.
If they were trying to go south
that's where the order taking is taking place.
Well, the order taking is in the lane. The order taking is in the lane. Like when you're in the lanes, you see the striped out area in the lane and that sidewalk that goes along the lane behind the cooler. That's where employees will walk and take your order.
All right, so it's only in the 2 parallel stacking lanes that orders are taken. It's not taken on the south side of the building.
No.
Okay, all right.
It's just in those 2 lanes.
That was my fundamental misunderstanding. So unless it were stacked beyond the ends of the lane, which is unlikely, they can circulate back and get back to Orchard Lake, where the old Ruby Tuesday entrance exit was. And at that point, they may also try to make a tough left onto 12 Mile to go east, but they'll have access to make a right turn onto 12 Mile.
Yeah, and then most of, the majority of our customers are pass-through customers. We're trying to collect the daily commuter trips. So, people aren't making a special out of their way trip here. So generally the customers we have are very knowledgeable about how to get to their, back on their route. So we do have a pretty knowledgeable customer base that knows the circulation, knows how to get places. If they're trying to, go eastbound on 12 Mile, they might say, hey, I'm just going to go back on, we'll go down, I'll go down there, make that left. It's not as congested as, trying to do some crazy maneuver onto Orchard Lake. And then if you're trying to go, majority of people are most likely, like it was indicated, trying to go to the highway, they're going to just be able to make a fairly simple right out of that entrance onto 12 Mile to get to the light.
And it even provides for ingress. So they could ingress from Orchard Lake Road, from 12 Mile westbound, or eastbound, they could take a
Yeah.
left into Ruby Tuesday
Yeah,
space.
they could enter that way as well.
Drive through, circulate the building, and then come around to place their order, and then they can come back out again.
They could very well just get in the lane if it's obviously not
Yeah.
stacked completely, but they would
Right,
just
right,
could
yeah,
recirculate
it
the
was,
site.
yeah, unclear. While we're taking care of with what you call a pork chop, and which I assume will be a term of art to mean that sort of kidney
A little
shaped,
a median that
a
goes at that
median
entrance
that prevents exit left against Orchard Lake, they'll still be able to ingress with a left turn from Orchard Lake
that's correct. We've,
going southbound.
yeah, the traffic study was done to analyze all turn movements and show the level of service of the road, you know, with those turn movements, and that's why it was discussed that the left out provided a safety issue, but the left in, because they're already on the road, you know, there's gaps in the traffic due to the stoplight that they can safely make the left in, you know, without impacting the level of service of Orchard Lake.
But I think when you came in December at the time, we weren't sure about the easement to use that rear entrance
Yeah.
to 12 Mile. Now it's clarified that it's
Yes.
there. But we now have an issue where left turn traffic onto 12 Mile at almost the same distance from the intersection is now a new issue. Because now those cars that are going to go back out onto 12 Mile are going to be making that left turn onto 12 Mile using that easement. Is that basically right?
That's correct, yeah.
And do you know if that was part of the traffic study?
We analyzed all traffic patterns. I don't know the full percentage of what we anticipate, you know, people to be leaving at each entrance. You know, that entrance is existing. Obviously, for the gas station, we don't have a whole lot of say over restricting turn movements at that entrance.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair?
Joe?
Oh, I'm sorry.
I would say public.
Yeah, I've got a question. The issue of loading, unloading, do you have a comment on that?
Yeah, like I mentioned, you know, our loading space requirements are at 150 feet, which is smaller than a parking space. So, you know, what the delivery is, like I said, similar to an Amazon truck. You know, they can either park in the space, but generally they just go around to where the trash enclosure is. There's a sidewalk that goes there. They unload the boxes, they bring it right into the cooler, and they leave the site. And it happens, you know, at off-peak hours. They don't come during, you know, rush hour times.
So they meet it or don't meet it? Meet our loading or unloading?
It would need to be provided, but you would just need to allow it to be in a side yard if it needed to be in a side yard, so that.
Not a ZBA variance,
Correct. The commission would allow, yeah,
special approval commission.
yes.
Okay, thanks.
Anyone else? Yes, Steve?
Yeah, I got a question for staff regarding the parking study. Has it been reviewed by the city, and what's the city's opinion of the parking study?
I think he means the traffic study.
Or traffic
The
study?
traffic study, yes, it has been reviewed. We did receive it last week. And Reed stated that there was the biggest issue was that left egress, and they have, with that pork chop, satisfied the study.
Anything else?
Yeah,
Yes.
just for knowledge. So what happens in a situation like this? And they say everything's gonna be fine, the traffic's gonna come in and out, the way it's gonna flow, and then it end up being complications afterwards. And you find, you know what? This is not a good situation here. This way the traffic is flowing, we're having some difficulties. What happens afterwards?
You don't go there.
So one,
I mean, with the city, like, wow, you know, this is
one option
problematic.
is, and this may be a question for your attorney as well, but as some examples I've seen in other communities of how they address this is you could specify a condition of approval that you find that the traffic won't, or the anticipated traffic won't have a negative impact on surrounding normal traffic flow based on the study provided, but in the event the traffic volume exceeds what's anticipated, the city could require an additional traffic study and mitigation and potentially revoke the special use permit if traffic volumes exceed what were demonstrated in that study.
Revoke it when? After they done built it and they operating? That seems like a very bad way to make friends and have businesses operate.
It certainly wouldn't be an ideal situation. But as a regulated use, I think you have more discretion to impose conditions to ensure it's compatible with the surrounding uses and for the city to enforce them. But of course, it would be less than ideal.
Yes.
So I've got a follow-up to that then. So we can set a condition that would mean that if there were ultimately a significant issue, deviation from what was predicted in the traffic modeling, that potentially could be reviewed and possibly even revoked, that approval. Can that also apply to impact on neighboring businesses and neighboring buildings, properties?
So I think it would depend on what those impacts are, if they're quantifiable and if they're specifically tied to one of the special use standards.
And it would be in the, we would leave it in the discretion of the city's traffic engineer. It would not be our first impression. It would be the impression of the traffic engineer. Is that correct, Mr. Schultz?
Yeah, I guess to jump in here, I don't think we've ever done what the planner is suggesting. I think technically it's an accurate statement that in a proper circumstance and with the right kind of land use, you could reserve that kind of right. With regard to the traffic, I don't know that you could, I don't think the argument would work as well for something like impact on adjacent properties. And as Daniel pointed out, much of that is because you have the ability to impose reasonable conditions, and your determination is going to be based upon what you knew at the time or believed at the time, and the reasonableness of the impact on the actual use once the investment's been made, as you said. So I guess if you're not comfortable with the information you're receiving, I guess I'd postpone it for more information before reserving the right to revoke an approval once it's been given.
Steve?
Just out of curiosity, how is your coffee, dark roast, medium, or burnt?
I believe they serve it all. I'm not actually a coffee person myself, but I hear rave reviews of it. Everybody is very excited for it.
I'm just wondering, because there's a coffee store on the other side. I don't drink coffee, my wife does. My wife thinks that Starbucks tastes burnt. It's a dark roast. She'll never go to a Starbucks. I'm very leery of the the traffic aspects of this. But one thing I am thinking is, it's repeat customers. If it is a massive pain to get in and out, and your coffee's similar, they're going to Starbucks. Because that's on the way out. They make a right coming out of there and get on the freeway without any issues there. Not that I like to rely on a competitor to keep your traffic issues in check. But I am very concerned about the traffic aspects. Even going down to 12, you've got to cut across 2 lanes to get into that left turn lane, which is always backed up past that entrance. So making a right onto 12 Mile could be difficult as well. Like I said, I really am struggling with the traffic aspect of this. But then again, like I said, if someone's looking for a cup of coffee, they may just stop at Starbucks and avoid the hassle.
Dale?
Well, first of all, the market will decide who goes where. People will decide where they want to get their coffee. Second thing is we did postpone it. We did indicate our concerns about circulation. And what we always do, we turn it over, they do a study. we rely on our consultants, our engineers, and they gave it, they'll report back with suggestions of how we can address our perceived concerns, because they are perceived concerns. And I think they've made reasonable suggestions, and I don't feel like I'm in a position to question, what they're saying can work in this case. You could have another plan there, a commercial plan, go there, and they could head, make lefts on Orchard Lake Road, and we probably wouldn't even say anything about it. So I think there's been an attempt, after we had concerns about circulation, we turned it over to our consultants, we turned it over to our city engineer to look at it, and this is what they've come back to us with. I'm comfortable with it.
John?
Yes.
Am I missing something here? There's been an Arby's there for what, 30 years, and it's the same driveway, and people are been getting in and out of the place for the last 30 years, and all of a sudden we're concerned about somebody coming in and having a drive-through coffee shop as opposed to a drive-through beef center.
We're concerned with the morning rush.
Yeah.
And the hamburger place didn't face the morning rush.
You must not have gone there. They didn't serve hamburgers. They were Arby's. But the fact of the matter is that this is not something that's brand new. It's something we've been dealing with for a long, long time. I understand your position about you could drink more coffee in the morning. I'm like the proponent here. I don't drink coffee. And if you go to Washington State and go to Seattle, they have Starbucks across the street from each other. You can go kitty corner. They're all over the place, but this is not a Starbucks. I mean, not going to affect me one way or the other. I used to go to the Arby's, but I'm not going to that place because I don't drink coffee. But the fact is that there's been cars going in and out of there without setting up the strange no left turn situation. And and people have been going through Arby's and going back out the 12 Mile Road for many, many years. And so, I mean, I just kind of surprised.
Based on the plan that they have, it's like two lanes stacked. So it
Yeah.
just seems like a lot more to cover.
I think it's the concept and the fact that they showed all that stacking and it was no in, no outside, just kind of, so I think that's how we reacted to that site plan, specific site plan, that gave us pause to say, okay, let's look at circulation onto Orchard Lake, 12 Mile, how's that's going to work? So given that, I think so in fairness to the planning commission, I think it was reasonable to look and say, okay, this is different than sitting and staying and whatever, peak hours. Let's look at it. And they did. And they came back with a solution.
So my memory of the December meeting was that they presented that they were going to have this amazing turnaround. And if you did, of customers, and if you did some math in your head, it was a lot of cars. And there was a reason to believe that large volume would occur during rush hour when people are trying to get to the freeway. Now, you said, hey, we turned it over to our engineering department, we turned it over to our consultant. I don't see what they said. I'm sorry. In the reports here, where did they say, don't worry about this?
Ask them. You want to address that?
I have not, I don't think we have seen a copy of the traffic study.
Okay, she hasn't seen a copy of the traffic.
I have a copy, so we did receive the copy. It just was not forwarded over to you yet.
Okay, did we review the traffic study?
We reviewed it, yes.
And
yes.
you're okay with the traffic
Yes,
study?
yes.
The engineering department is, with the traffic engineer.
Was there
comfortable.
anything in our package that said that you reviewed it and you were happy with it?
You guys.
I'm not trying to give you a hard time. I'm addressing what was said. And I'd like to hear it from you that you're happy with what they've done.
Yes, we did have comments, and they came back last week, finished the comments, and updated everything that we needed, and we are happy with this.
You are not concerned, you are happy that the proposed use will not make vehicular and pedestrian traffic more hazardous than is normal for the district.
Based on the traffic study, yes, that is correct.
Okay.
there information on how they go about with the traffic study? Is it someone's opinion, or is there any ways of measuring
So
the accuracy?
It's kind of based on what they have, right? So, Reed, you talked about your 15 stacking spaces and their typical use, and then it's also based on field studies. So there's a couple different things that they do.
Yeah, I can give a little color. So there's a national database that's done, traffic counts, for hundreds or thousands of uses, ITE. So they use that data for our use to determine a predictable percentile of traffic. And then they go out and they do traffic counts on the surrounding roads to find a certain level of service, how many cars are out there at peak times, and basically analyze what the existing drive-through use demand was based on, compared to what our use would bring and compared to what Orchard Lake and 12 Mile Road have. And then they basically make a determination, it's not an opinion, it's based on wait times and things like that with the additional traffic being used, whether there be an adverse impact to Orchard Lake Road, 12 Mile. And they do analyze what the stacking would be on both roads and what was found during their study. They only do the actual traffic counts during a normal business day, so they don't do it on holiday weekends, things like that. So they go out there on a normal weekday, work day, do the traffic counts, understand what the average queue is during a 2-3 hour window, and then use the actual data, because obviously the center isn't open yet, but they've studied these type of uses, coffee users, all across the country, suburban, urban, rural environments, and then use that to base their determination on what restrictions or warrants are met. And that's where it came up that a left out of the site based on the stacking on Orchard Lake would cause a hazardous turn. Therefore, it was recommended we close that off. That changed kind of the percentile who would use obviously it'd be 0% left out. So they went, they changed it to who would be using the full movement drive on 12 Mile. They found no adverse effects to that, those turn movements there, and that's where their determination comes from.
How many cars do you expect to be lined up in those 2 lanes?
Yeah, that's a great question. So like I said, we've studied, there's over 500 7 brews in the country now. We've done plenty of stacking studies. On the worst days, we have about 15 cars there. So that's, 7 in one lane, 8 in the other. But generally on a normal day, we have, 3 or 4 in each lane, at any given time for that kind of morning rush. And then throughout the day, 1 or 2 cars that come through in the afternoon, things like that.
What will your hours be?
Yep, so it's 5 a.m. to 10 p.m. are their hours.
5 to 10.
Eric.
So you present a plan that has the stacking requirements, and you try to meet the stacking requirements because you don't want us being concerned about stacking cars into the roadway.
Correct.
So you provide the best plan that you can to accommodate enough cars on the property. And you estimate the business as a pie in the sky total, right? Because you want it to appear as a vibrant business, and you want it to be clear that this is something that you think people will enjoy. So your projections of how many people will actually be coming are best case scenario projections that you probably don't generally exceed when in actual practice. Correct. So you're doing that for us, right? For the city to get approval. You're trying to say that this is a vibrant business, not a moribund Arby's that has, only me supporting it for months and months. And then you have gone through and made accommodations for the concerns that we had in December about the left turns onto, which I was the one raising that concern, was about the left turns onto Orchard Lake and the problems that might provide, and that solution, as either proposed or agreed by the traffic engineer, was to place that pork chop in that space to prevent left turns onto Orchard Lake Road. But basically, any business that ends up in this location will impact traffic to one extent or another. So now we're starting to differentiate between, well, is this a morning restaurant or an afternoon restaurant, like if they were to put a Culver's, say, just down the street, whether the impact will be different because it's an afternoon and whether it'll impact other businesses. We end up in this loop that, you know, now we're just approving whether or not they're going to actually be a business in this moribund Arby's space. And I think that I find myself in the odd position of agreeing with Barry that we actually have to just accept that we've got a proponent here that wants to put a business in this particular spot, and they predict that it's going to be a vibrant business, and they've selected that spot because they want to do good business. I think we have to accept that there's going to be some minimal impact to traffic, but I can't see that as being a major impact. They're not going to have instances where they go for 3 hours with 15 cars queued in there and going in and out of the location. He wishes that they would get that kind of business, right? So I'm you know, intend to vote in favor of the proposal generally.
I really think we should wait till we hear from the public, just as a formal thing before we start saying things like that.
Yeah, okay.
Anything else?
That's it.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay, I'm going to close the public, I'm going to open the public hearing, and you can sit down. Anyone here to speak to that? You are here, okay.
Good evening, David Elkis for Barron's Wholesale Clothiers, Gateway Building, 27888 Orchard Lake Road, Farmington Hills.
Hey, Buzzy. I'll tailor shop.
Abe's Fine Tailoring, same location.
27888.
Big Brian.
What's his last name?
Buzzy.
B-A-Z-Z-I.
Thank you.
So I have several different comments I'd like to bring to this group. First, in the December meeting, to Mr. Mante's point, the city rules planning does not favor drive-throughs for drive-throughs' sake and prefers not to have restaurants that are strictly drive-through, off you go, and no community involvement. This is a point that you made at your earlier meeting. This is a business that is doubling down on that concept. As you heard, they're expecting at least 90%, if not more, of their customers to be driving through, in, out, gone, and zipping along. So my point to you is that is not in keeping with what the city is looking to have on a site, period, wherever the site's going to be. You're trying not to have simply drive-through conditions. My first point to you. Second, I'm sorry, I don't understand the term, but to prevent somebody from turning left out of that building, out of that site, I can see one of three things happening. The first is, as I'm sorry, I forgot who mentioned it, mentioned instead of turning right out of the site, they'll take a fast right and fast left around as soon as traffic opens. Second option is going to be to turn right, turn left into the strip mall or into the Holocaust Center and race down the parallel road to Orchard Lake to get out. The third is that they're going to circle around. If business is good, they're going to be stuck in that loop until they can make it out the south exit. But they're just as likely to go through what matters to me, our parking lot, and race to get out, where you can take a left turn onto Orchard Lake Road. It's easy to anticipate that happening as it happens every day of the week, every hour of the day, with the gas station that went through planning process and was told, oh no, that won't ever happen, but it happens all the time coming through our lot. And we'll only have a great deal more traffic coming through, making it dangerous to go back and forth to cars. You know, just walking back and forth is tough as it is. It will only be worse with this much more high volume, high traffic, in a hurry type of a business. The next point, again, is also mentioned, left turn out onto 12 Mile Road. I appreciate, Mr. Brickner, that Arby's was there today and that it wasn't much of a problem, or whatever the problem is, life went on. Again, the distinction here is that this is a particular high-traffic business designed to have high volume. That's their goal. That's the purpose of their business, and they're going to. I beg your pardon?
That noise was meaning the end of your 3 minutes.
Thank you.
Anyone else wish to come up and address the commission?
So could staff put an aerial up so I could identify where the gentleman's business property is located?
Right next door, right there. There's 2311.
2311?
Yeah, that's where his business is.
In between the gas station and them, and the Arby's.
You're south.
I don't see how they get through there. Gentleman who's here to speak on behalf of Seven Brews, is it not true that on the Arby's site today, you can only go out the back to what used to be, I don't know how familiar you are with what used to be here, but it used to be a Ruby Tuesdays.
So I've been told.
And you can make the right so that you can get on 12 Mile. There is no way, in my knowledge, correct me if I'm wrong, in all the times I've eaten at Arby's, to come into the next door neighbor's parking lot from the Arby's, which sits at a higher elevation than that business. Is that accurate, or am I mistaken?
I'm not sure. I mean, we don't have access to the site. It appears that maybe they have access to that shared drive in the rear. I would venture to say, again, he owns the business. He says people cut through there. I don't really see a rational reason to cut through the business if you're either at the gas station or at our site. Both sites have dedicated entrances onto Orchard Lake. And then obviously the 12 Mile entrance as well. There's really not a reason to either turn into the site to get to the Arby's or to exit from our site to go through there to have the same turn conflicts, if not worse, trying to make a left onto Orchard Lake. Again, our customers are repeat customers, that they understand the traffic patterns. I would be very surprised if that was a turn movement that somebody would try to make.
Thank you. Chair, can I ask one more question, please? Staff, at this point, in the past 6 months to a year, we have these ongoing do-loop conversations about traffic studies. We're here till midnight with people complaining about traffic every time someone comes and wants to develop a new business. Yet we don't own, as a city, the access to Orchard Lake or 12 Mile or any of the main thoroughfares through the city of Farmington Hills. Would it be a useful effort, and I don't know where planning fits into that, to reach out to Road Commission and have an active study to understand the trends and how the trends have changed post-COVID, so that we could be fed with data to hopefully keep us from having do-loop conversations about the perception of whether traffic is getting worse or better, so that we could better serve not only our residents, but our developers that would like to do business in the city.
Well, I think that's what these traffic studies are doing already. And it's hard to say, let's just do one big study when each specific use is going to cause different traffic.
Fair. Would it be, when we did the master plan, though, we kind of talked through the master plan in zones? Is that a useful effort? I'm just trying to see and understand how can we get to a place that we are discussing things with the community from a real data perspective? That we're all not just using conjecture, but more closely to what could potentially happen based on the data.
Right, and the traffic counts are part of the real data that we are getting with each traffic study.
Which
that's done.
each time they do it.
Yes.
So then the Culver's, if you took the Culver's traffic study and compared it to the Brew 7 traffic study, they should have similar information, right? Because they're just corner from corner. For that matter, the gas station that just did the whole massive renovation, I don't really know if they came in front of us or not, but they would have had to do a traffic study, right? So if you took all three of those traffic studies and compared them, they should tell you a similar story.
Similar, but they're also on different roads, right? So Culver's is going to be right off of 12 Mile, so that one's more important, where the Orchard Lake one is the one that they're focusing on more. 12 Mile, yes. Yeah, that would be similar.
If there is at a point in time when we are having extra studies, planning time study sessions, that we could have a road discussion where we better understand how it impacts, that would help me in my education of being a planning commissioner.
Okay.
That's it.
Diane, can you look into that?
Yes, so you're talking about having maybe a special study session to discuss traffic overall with the planning commission and
To better educate us.
Yes,
on
certainly.
How it applies.
Yep.
We had something similar of an education when some of us were new, to help us better understand how we are supposed to take in the information and then apply it back to do our job. So I just feel like I'm lacking here.
Yeah.
I mean, I think something, a criteria they would explain to us that what we have to allow for site access so folks can develop their property, what is the criteria? What do we look at in terms of safety, in terms of allowing access to the site for development, which we're required to do by law? What is the things that you look at when you analyze a site specific? Because like you said, all sites are different, and there's a criteria, and you try to anticipate as much as you can. Sure, there may be a fender bender or somebody will do this or that. You can't anticipate everything, but you're doing the best you can with what information is presented and what information you anticipate.
Yes.
Because a lot of times they'll come in and lowball saying, because there is a traffic study, but you have to look at it and say, nah, realistically, this is what I got to look at.
Exactly.
So I think more importantly is what planning commissions should consider when they look at a site plan for the development of the site, what we look at, what considerations are taken into account. In terms of the gentleman who just got up and spoke, I'm trying to look at, and I'm curious about the ownership in this area here, and the issue as it relates to the rear access, the rear. Mr. Chair, could I ask him to come up just to point out what your issue is in terms of the circulation? Could you come up to the?
So our building is your 2311 351 039.
And you own to what? To the yellow line? Could you show?
The white rooftop there between.
No, I got the building, but where's your property extend to?
It's a funny lot. We own
Yellow line.
we own the parking spaces, we own the building. The driveway from a former owner belongs to the same party that owns the gas station and the property where Arby's is.
So your customers will go onto your property, park in your lot. Will they go eastbound to that access point?
So, I'm sorry, so you're asking for ownership first. So we own the parking lots, we don't own the driveway.
Okay.
Okay, so our customers, there's an easement, cross easement between former Arby's, our property, gas station property, where all parties can go back and forth through each.
Okay.
There's an opening on to Orchard Lake Road for us, where we are stuck with customers turning in for the gas station.
And you can go east, you can make left or right out of your property?
Correct.
Okay.
And there's an exit out the south end towards, so you can exit towards 12 Mile Road.
Okay,
from our
so you can
property.
go east and then go south out of your property. You can go east,
Yes.
south through the easement.
Yes.
Correct.
This gentleman has an easement as well, access to an
It's
easement?
one easement for, across all
Everybody,
of that.
for everybody, right. So your concern is the people are going to come out of his property, make a right, make another right, go through your parking lot, and then southbound on Orchard Lake Road, make a left out of your,
Correct.
okay.
Or turn into ours and cut the line across the back.
Thank you, Mr. Elkins.
Well, I guess my issue is, so in some ways, they're parallel, in my way of thinking. He's got access to the easement. The owner to sell has access to an easement to go south to 12 Mile Road. So I don't know how, I don't know how you keep your customers from going out the east side, making a left and going into his queue line for a coffee. I don't know. I mean, it's
It's a volume issue, a volume of traffic issue.
Anyone else? Questions?
Thank you.
Okay, I'm gonna,
You haven't
You were back up there.
closed the public hearing yet.
yeah, I haven't closed it.
You haven't closed the public hearing.
Right,
Okay.
we're done with you. You can sit down. Thank you.
Not yet.
I'm going to close the public hearing at this point, and it's back to the commission. Wow, the wall of silence. Okay.
6 mile long thing.
Want a motion?
Yes.
I move that application for special approval, site plan 6710-2025 dated January 22nd, 2026, submitted by Utopia Michigan LLC be approved because it meets the standards for special approval uses set forth in section 34(6.3). As it relates to the standards for special approval, the use is compatible in terms of the zoning and similar to surrounding zonings. The issue relative to vehicular and pedestrian traffic for the site, after the Planning Commission had a concern with it, was referred back to staff, and a traffic study was done and determined alterations be made to the site to address the concerns of the Planning Commission. So I do not see that there is a safety hazard, or at least anything that could be anticipated from what we received. I don't see this site, a 500 square foot building, creating excessive noise, odors, lights, unless you don't like the smell of coffee, vibration, dust, or other nuisances that would cause harmful effects on other property and property owners. There is not a building height issue or a screening issue. I do accept as part of my motion that the evergreens be a substitute. We can talk about that for the deciduous requirement. As it relates to the relationship with other properties, I believe this site will be harmonious. Obviously, people who know 12 Mile and Orchard Lake Road, it's a very active area, especially during times of rush hour and, rush hour. But it is vibrant, and we encourage development and investment in our community. And I think this property will, under the proposed development, will fit in as proposed with the modifications discussed tonight. The site, I think, has provided provisions to ensure public safety and welfare. Site also will not adversely affect surrounding properties in terms of harming other land uses, creating damage to air, water, or natural resources. And certainly, I don't believe that it will be a burden on public facilities, as relates to water, sewer. But we have taken special interest as it relates to traffic and circulation. We feel that based on best advice after further study and by our engineering division, planning staff, and the traffic study, that traffic elements of this plan will be compatible for the area. And finally, the compatibility of the site design and architectural element. What's proposed is, in my mind, an attractive building and fitting in with the area with the materials and its designs. I also would indicate the approval is subject to the following conditions and determinations. I would, by reference, recommend 1 through 4 be accepted. And as it relates to an outdoor space for seating accessory to a drive-in restaurant, I would waive the requirement. I guess my sense is, giving the concept of the business as a grab and go, that I would agree if there is traffic and if it's peak hours early in the morning, that outdoor seating as it relates to this business doesn't necessarily make sense. So I would propose to waive that requirement. As it relates to conditions 6 through 11, I would recommend they be approved by reference. Item number 12, the site is in the Orchard Lake Road corridor special planning area, and public art is required if it's over $2 million. On the record, the developer has indicated that it would be approximately $1 million, and that requirement would not apply. And as an aside, I would think in the future when we see these, staff may want to consider that through cost of construction or preliminary information, get that information up front so we're not even looking at it. If it's under $2 million, then that language doesn't really need to be before us. And that's my motion.
Is there support?
Support.
Support. All those in favor say, oh, let's do a roll call vote. Cheryl.
Commissioner Stimson?
Yay.
Yay. Ware?
Yay.
Contigan?
Yes.
Lindquist?
Aye.
Grant?
Well, based on the information and saying that a traffic report was done and that the city okays it and says that everything is okay, and if I am to listen to what the experts are saying, that the traffic is going to be fine, because I would like to see this young man thrive with his business. Because of that, I will say yay.
Brickner?
Yes.
Manti?
Nay.
Chair Treflet?
Yes.
So that is 7-1.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is Cluster Site Plan 59-4-2019. This is 29-150 Farmington Road, it's south of 7 Mile, or south of 13 Mile, and it's the old swim club property.
All right, well, thank you. This is a residential cluster development proposal at a site located just south of 12 Mile Road off Farmington Road on the east side. It is for a 10 single-family detached residential development. And as the chair mentioned, it is the site of the former Kendallwood Swim Club. The structures associated with the club are no longer present on the property, and it is, I believe, rough graded as it's shown in the aerial image here. So there is some history to this project. It was formerly known as Mackenzie Green, which the city reviewed and approved in 2019 with conditions. The Planning Commission, so the cluster development review process has essentially 3 steps. First, there's a Planning Commission review to determine whether or not it meets the qualifications for cluster development. That involves a public hearing. If so, and the commission determines it does qualify, then the next step is that an applicant prepares a preliminary site plan and then again submits that to the commission for review, which also involves a public hearing. If the commission finds that the site plan meets all applicable ordinance requirements, the commission then makes a recommendation to council for a final approval and also approval for a corresponding development agreement. So during the last review, the commission found the cluster met the qualification requirements, recommended approval of the preliminary site plan, but the applicant never subsequently submitted a development agreement to the city council, and the proposal didn't proceed from there. And so the commission's approval expired, and here we are today. So I believe the developer applicant has changed hands, but the project is still largely the same as it was before. So the applicants are just requesting that site plan approval to move forward again with the project. And so after the commission's review, it would need to go on to the city council for final approval, both of the site plan and of the development agreement. We are past the qualification stage, but the consideration for you tonight is whether to schedule a public hearing on the preliminary site plan for a future meeting. So this site is zoned RA2. To the south, east, and west, there is single-family residential, and to the north is a regional stormwater detention basin. The next slide, please. So the site arrangement is very similar to what the previous proposal was. There's a single access road ending in a cul-de-sac, and of the 10 dwelling units, you see the 8 are aligned on the south side of that road, with 2 on the eastern end. A total of 42% of the site acreage would be set aside as unprogrammed open space, and during the initial cluster review, qualification review in 2018, the commission found that the development overall qualified for cluster development, including the proposed density, the maximum being 3.1 units per acre. As proposed, it's 2.61 units per acre. So the site configuration meets applicable dimensional requirements, both in terms of front, side, and rear setbacks. However, elevations of the typical building design do need to be provided, even though we're at the preliminary site plan stage. Those weren't included with this proposal. So in a future submittal, those should be provided. They should show a typical, if somewhat general, material palette, but also specify the maximum height that the dwellings would be. In terms of natural features, a number of landmark trees are trees that have a trunk diameter of 6 inches or greater and are more of desirable species are present on the site. In total, that the combined DBH, or the trunk diameter of all those trees, is 53 inches. The replacement trees, the diameter of the replacement trees have the same cumulative measurement, 53 inches of replacement trees. However, that the basis for replacement and mitigation trees being provided is a 2022 tree survey, so roughly 4 years old. And the majority of that vegetation is along the south side of the property, which is in an area meant to provide a buffer between the development and the existing dwellings to the south. So a consideration for the commission tonight is whether to direct the applicant to prepare a new tree survey. There is 4 years, some time has passed. It's difficult to say how much conditions on the site have changed, but one of the requirements for cluster development is an accurate tree survey being provided. Next slide, please. And as I mentioned, that the buffer area is required where the development abuts single-family residential. There are some conflicts to the north. Although a buffer is not required to that area, there's no need to provide screening to a detention basin. There are some utility conflicts in that area. To the south, though, there is, as I mentioned, existing vegetation. There is also a creek and a floodplain area. And some of that existing vegetation would be included in the preserved open space of the development. So a small portion of several of the dwellings, and not the building footprint area, the lot area, encroach into what is a floodplain. In the approximate area of the arrow shown on the screen, a small portion of the southern end of the lots encroach into a floodplain. Given that condition and also the ordinance's intent of providing a buffer between adjacent residential, a consideration for you and a direction you could give to the applicant is whether or not they need to provide either more plantings along that southern side of the development, give additional confirmation that the existing vegetation provides an adequate buffer, or a more significant step would be to adjust the road to the north to provide a little more separation between some of those dwellings and the southern boundary of the development. That would be a little more intensive an effort on the applicant's part, as they've indicated the road has already been engineered. But it is in the commission's purview to ask for that change if you deem it necessary. Next slide, please. So in summary, again, the action request for you tonight is just whether or not to schedule a public hearing for a future meeting to consider the preliminary site plan. And the primary item we recommend you discuss and broach with the applicant is whether or not the existing vegetation along the southern lot line provides an adequate buffer. Lastly, there are some other outstanding detail items, one of which being needing to provide those elevations. Those could be addressed in an updated submittal. And I'll be happy to take any questions.
Did you happen to look at the old file from 2019?
I did not. I understand there are some changes between that site layout and this, but I would have to look up the specifics.
Okay, I just seem to recall more units. You remember it?
That was Yaldo, right?
Yeah,
Yaldo's development?
I think so, yeah. Anyway, okay.
I think the original plans had like 11 units, and then, but the plan that ended up at city council was 10.
Okay. Joe?
Yeah, near the top of page 4, your report says the buildable area of Lot 4 is impacted by encroachment of the 100-year flood hazard, and this should be addressed, as I understand it. But then I thought you said it wasn't part of the buildable area. I got a little confused there.
I would need to check on that, but
And if it is in the 100-year, they can still build there. They just have to fill or elevate to 1 foot above the 100-year floodplain. So I'm sure that the building department will make sure that that happens if it needs to. So I'm not sure what the concern was about the 100-year floodplain.
That's right. So I believe that the line shown on the screen there is the limit of the floodplain. So if it says in our review that it encroaches into the buildable area, I don't believe that's accurate. It just overlaps with the southern portion of the lot line.
Okay, so I was just confused because your verbal report corrected that. All right, thank you.
Good catch, thank you. Barry?
You know, the other thing is the engineering department has no objections to the approval of the site plan as proposed, so.
Yeah.
That's correct. We've already gone through all of the engineering. We've got Eagle permits.
So that would get rid of the floodplain question.
Was it a straight road before?
No, it was very similar to this, yes.
It was curved.
Yep.
I like it.
What are we gonna do about the 0.05 feet?
What?
Huh?
What?
The 24.95 feet as opposed to 25 feet, which would make it about 0.05 feet short of the requirement. Can it just round off or something, or?
It probably is it is very negligible, but given that it does specifically say that setback on the plan, it would need to be corrected.
Right.
Yes.
Whatever we approve, it's got to meet the setback unless they get into variance, right?
Yep.
Okay. Make it the right number.
The other question I have is I know that we approved the cluster option before, and they have their time period where then, and they actually have to build, and that has elapsed. So we're also talking about site plans now. Don't we have to approve the cluster option again and submit it to the, I know that's where we're gonna have a public hearing, but it's on the site plan. But don't we have to approve a cluster option a second time to have it approved by the city council?
Mr. Schultz? I don't think it's been qualified once. It's actually been approved by city council. The agreement was actually approved by our office. It just didn't get
signed.
Didn't get signed.
No, I understand that, but
I don't know that we have to re-qualify it. It's been qualified.
The only thing we have to really then do is approve the new site plan as opposed to approve, because it's already passed we've already passed as a cluster option.
Right, reapprove the cluster plan.
Right.
Yes.
Okay,
Which will require the public hearing.
So that didn't expire. It was just the site plan that expired.
Right.
Okay, that was my question.
That's correct.
Thank you.
Yep.
Yes.
I just want clarification as far as what a cul-de-sac, it says per section 27-57 of the subdivision ordinance, the maximum length for residential cul-de-sac streets shall be generally 600 feet. However, the cul-de-sac is less than 600 feet.
So it has to be less than 600 feet.
The length of the cul-de-sac.
It has to do with the fire department.
Okay, so I just wanted some clarity on that.
I believe the language is the maximum length for residential cul-de-sac shall generally be 600 feet.
It's less than, yeah.
So I think that word generally allows for some flexibility.
Okay. This is a regular meeting, so it's not a public hearing.
Ready for a motion?
And that's all we have to do is set it.
Yeah.
Right, okay. Steve?
Okay, I move that the application to amend cluster site plan approval 59-4-2019 dated February 18th, 2026 as revised, submitted by Cedar of Farmington Road LLC, be set for public hearing for the Planning Commission's next available regular meeting agenda.
Second.
Oh, well, yeah, and we'll need a new tree survey.
Okay.
Okay, we have a discussion on the tree survey?
Well, who is the proponent on this? Okay. Why don't one of you step up to the microphone and get some questions answered?
So we have a motion and a second, so we can have discussion on that.
Have a discussion.
We have discussion.
We're gonna,
Okay.
they should know. Okay.
Good evening. My name is Jared Prather from Boss Engineering, 3121 East Grand River Avenue, Howell, Michigan.
Jared Fraser?
Jared, Jared, Prather, Prather.
And I'm Patrick Clary, also with Boss Engineering.
I have a hard, you're so close, but the acoustics are bad, so your last name?
Patrick Clary, Cleary.
Thanks.
Okay. There were some questions that they had. Do you remember the questions, and can you provide answers?
I can address some of the landscaping items.
I was interested in the status of the tree survey and what work's been done since the original, not the original tree survey, but the 2019 survey?
Yes, so
Do we have a sense of, there's been a lot of change, or?
well, that's what I guess what we would suggest is that we did not do the original tree survey, but there are only 14 trees that are going to be removed. And so the remainder, which I think there's like 80, would be 70, or about 80 or so on site along that southern border are not going to be removed. So I guess resurveying them doesn't seem like it would necessarily be a benefit. That said, the 14 that are there, I think there were 5 that were landmark. One was below the threshold, and then there was a number, the remainder were not on the landmark list on your, per the ordinance. If those did grow a few inches over time in the last 4 years, that would then be calculated in the total caliper inches per your calculation. That might have the potential of maybe adding a replacement tree. We can see that, but I guess it would be a request that we could evaluate those 14 and not the 130 that were in the original.
Yeah,
Would it be cheaper for you to just add one replacement tree?
Do that too.
Than to have the survey done?
Could do that too.
My sense is if the encroachment is not any different than before, it is still the same 14 trees we're going to take out?
Correct.
Because I don't see the need for a survey.
Oh, give me the
I'm
free
just wondering
tree.
how
Come
much it
on.
would have changed with all the massive construction there for the last 2 years too.
Yeah.
That's my
Yeah,
question.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of major construction there for 2 years.
right. And we've authorized some contractors to go in there and
Yeah.
put their equipment in there to do work in Kindlewood as well.
Yeah.
So
I would think the site could have it could have changed decently.
yeah, but the ones we're really looking at are identified, and we know what they are. And so, I don't know.
Just give me one tree.
I don't need to see another tree survey beyond the limits of where we're going to work.
I guess I would maybe just, there is the potential that when they were doing the demo of the previous structures and stuff, there may have been some stuff, but it, since that paved area, the building area were pretty well defined, that they took out, those areas. So in terms of that screening, I guess it was not understanding that it really had significantly changed at all.
What's staff's feeling on this?
Well, I think it also, there's been a lot of die-off of trees in the last, handful of years through storms, and it's a matter of, as Mike brought up, is there enough buffering still between Lot 4 and 5, for the adjacent residential properties to the south?
Considering that this is a buffer as well.
That would be my only comment there.
I guess I could maybe address that as well. The previous plan, and it's our understanding that was maybe part of the PUD agreement, or the cluster agreement, that in addition to the regular landscape trees and shrubs and things of that sort that were part of the landscape plan, and I don't know if you have a copy of that, but there were also 90, what they called whips, seedling trees that were going to be introduced to that south boundary to address the buffering. And that has been continued with this proposal. I guess I would, if you look on the landscape plan, the 90 little blips in there amongst all the brush could be interspersed between those existing trees. If there was actually a little bit of die-off, if there was, those whips would actually grow a little bit better, if at all. So there was a contingency to address the buffer and then having those seedlings that kind of by nature will grow faster. and fill in that area a lot more quickly, so to maintain that southern buffer. And all that is south of the lot lines. It's in that, in the floodplain area and out of the grading area.
Okay, anything else?
Staff wants to handle it administratively and.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, from my standpoint, I'm not sure why we're surveying an area that's going to be undisturbed. I mean, if they've dived off over the years, they've died off. I'm not sure why the developer, he's not going there. So he's identified where he is going and the 14 trees involved, and we get our replacement for that. But given that we've had a developer in here, I don't know what happened to Sam, or if he, whatever, lost the project, and now we got another developer here. Doing another survey of trees of an area that we're not going to go into, that the developer's not going into, I'm not seeing the value of that investment for the city or for the developer.
Okay, there's still a motion on the floor, but go
Yeah,
ahead.
well, the motion has, yeah.
Yeah, I'll waive the,
Just set the hearing.
yeah, just set the hearing.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Okay.
Did someone second my motion?
Yeah, Danielle.
Danielle.
Wait, so was that, are you good with me removing the tree survey?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
All set?
And do we know when this can be?
Thank you.
Can this be April?
So that's the next one coming up. That's the next one coming up.
I'm sorry, I believe we could get it on the April agenda, but I'll have to look at the noticing requirements for the public hearing.
One meeting in April, Diane? Just one?
Yes, yes, correct.
April 16th.
You can check back with the planning office to see the exact date. But you're good right now.
Oh, yes, you're right.
The next item on the agenda, site plan approval 52-2-2026. The address is 31130 Orchard Lake Road. This is the last time, this is going to be a restaurant, but before that, it was going to be a car wash, I believe.
Car wash, yes.
Yes, so just so you know what we're talking about.
All right. So this is a proposal for a restaurant in an existing building on the east side of Orchard Lake Road. The applicants are proposing a small addition to the existing building that's on site. It would be roughly 1,400 square feet in area. They're also proposing 2 outdoor seating areas. One would be on the west side of the building along the Orchard Lake Road frontage. The other would be to the north side of the building, still on the subject site, but between the building elevation and the drive to the north. They're also proposing a parking lot expansion. It would add additional pavement, extend the parking lot to the east. And they're also, in addition to that, relocating the dumpster, adding an underground stormwater detention pond, and some other site improvements. The next slide, please. So the existing building is roughly 7,700 square feet in area. Was previously occupied by a pet supply store, but has been vacant for several years. The building is 1 story and has what appears to be an ornamental second story in that southwest corner. The floor plans indicated is all 1 story, but city records indicated, or staff suspected, may have been a second story at some point, so that'll be a question for the applicant to confirm. Next slide, please. So in terms of zoning, this is 2 zoning districts apply to the site. The western portion is B3, the eastern portion is P1, vehicular parking district. There are a number of different zoning districts that surround the site, but of note is to the north is a RA4 residential zoning, which is the green area that abuts that center northern portion of the parcel. To the east is office And there is a multi-tenant building there, I believe, occupied by commercial uses. To the south is more parking lot and retail, and to the west is the Orchard Place Shopping Center.
What's left of it?
Sorry?
What's left of it?
What's left? Oh. So as the two outdoor seating areas I mentioned, you can see on the west side of the building, to the north and west on the Orchard Lake Road frontage. The addition is that yellowish area on the east elevation. The dumpster enclosure is proposed in the location shown on this plan. It's currently in the footprint of the addition. The applicants will add a new concrete pad and relocate it, just shift it to the east. The new parking lot area is to the far east, and if you can see, there's a faint outline of the underground detention structure that'll be in the southeast portion of the property. They'll otherwise be maintaining the two access drives as they're existing. So this project will need a number of variances to proceed just because of the site configuration as it is now. The first of which, it'll need, the addition itself will need a variance. It encroaches into a 20-foot required setback. However, and this would be a consideration for the ZBA, the addition would leave a roughly 2-foot gap between an existing masonry screening wall and the north lot line, which we recommend the applicants reconfigure the addition to eliminate, as spaces like that are prone to accumulating rubbish and it becomes maintenance issues. So we recommend they address that. The dumpster location would also need a variance because it's within 20 feet of a lot line of a residential property. In addition to that, the applicants have indicated they're going to reuse the existing enclosure material. So we'd suggest, if approved, the commission include a condition that reusing that enclosure will be just subject to inspection by city staff to ensure it provides the required screening. And the third variance that'll be necessary is for the parking lot expansion. Minimum 10-foot setbacks required from any right-of-way, and the new parking lot will be roughly 8 feet from the Mulferton Street to the south. And the outdoor seating areas will also require variances. One of the requirements for outdoor seating areas is they cannot be within 200 feet of a residential property unless, among other criteria, separated by a building. So the outdoor seating area to the north, there is no building separating that area to the adjacent residential, so that they would need a variance from that requirement in order for the northern area to be permissible. The location along the Orchard Lake Road frontage is allowable, or could be allowed, because it's separated by the existing principal building, but it eliminates required frontage open space area. And so a variance would be necessary to allow the reduction from that requirement. Next slide, please. There's also several planning commission determinations that will be in your purview to make as part of the site plan review. So the first is whether the required number of parking spaces can be reduced. So based on the building floor area and the area of the outdoor seating areas, the required number of spaces is 113. And as this current configuration, 73 are proposed. So the commission can approve a reduction, and based on considerations like whether the site or the use accommodates customer walk-up traffic, whether there is transit available in the area, or some unique characteristic of their operations. But if you're unable to make that determination, you could require the applicants to provide a traffic study or a parking demand estimate if you deem that necessary. They also haven't identified a loading space on the plan, so that would need to be shown in an updated submittal, and in the event it's in a side yard, it would need your approval to be allowed in that location. There also is not a pedestrian walkway proposed to the principal building, which is a requirement. But that is also something you could waive based on considerations of practicality and the utilization of the building itself. There's, so that's something you could discuss. Next slide, please. As far as landscaping, there's a number of shrubs and trees proposed around the west, south, and east perimeter. The plantings to the south of the building is a ornamental grass. Those will need to be replaced with a shrub of some kind, which is an ordinance requirement. The applicant will also have to identify clear vision areas on the plans. In particular, the trees adjacent to the Orchard Lake Road Drive may obstruct vision, so that's something the applicants will need to verify. Next slide, please. The illumination requirements are met. There's several pole-mounted parking lot lights shown on the plan. The fixtures will be fully shielded for the pole-mounted lights, and the detail for the additionally proposed wall pack lightings also show they'll be fully shielded, but the locations of the wall lights aren't shown on the plans or elevations, so that'll need to be provided. There's also a requirement that fixtures for outdoor areas have reflective shields on them. So the applicants will need to confirm if these particular light products include that shielding. As far as the elevations, there are some potential deviations to consider. The elevations do specify the proposed exterior materials, but they don't include the percentages. And for facades facing public rights-of-way, there is a minimum requirement that 60% of the materials be one of those listed on the slide here, either masonry, timber, or dimensioned wood or engineered equivalent, fiber cement, or glass. So the upper portions of the facade facing Orchard Lake Road are an EFIS product, although the lower portion will be predominantly glass. For the southern elevation, the material, I believe, will be predominantly EFIS, so it likely does not meet that minimum coverage requirement for other material types. Next slide, please. But both of those are items you can approve deviations from those requirements if you find that both those two conditions shown in the lower bullet points apply. And they're fairly general. First is that there's a specific architectural design characteristic that the different materials would achieve, and the other is that the alternative materials are compatible with surrounding buildings. The next slide, please. And fenestration or glass window requirements. Also, there's a requirement that for facades along major thoroughfares that the ground floor be a minimum of 60% windows and the upper portion be a minimum of 35%. So it doesn't appear that the Orchard Lake Road frontage at minimum meets that 35% for the upper portion of the building, and the southern elevation likely doesn't meet either of the window transparency requirements. Next slide, please. That is also something you could waive, although there are different criteria to consider. Again, the first is whether or not there's some architectural design reason to reduce the number of windows, whether or not the reduced windows are compatible with surrounding buildings, or if there's some practical reason that providing additional windows would be difficult. It doesn't have the same criteria. It doesn't have to meet the same standard for a variance, just that there's some practical reason for not providing windows. Next slide, please. And again, we have the requirement for the public art, and I think we don't have the estimated cost of construction, so that would be a question for the applicants. They may be able to clarify that tonight. Next slide, please. So in summary, there's a number of waivers to consider. First is whether proposed parking may be reduced. Second is whether or not a pedestrian connection needs to be provided. And then, as far as the next two have to do with building materials, whether the primary and accent material requirements can be waived. Again, we don't have the coverage percentage for those materials, but the material types are listed on the elevations. And next is whether or not there can be deviations in fenestration or window coverage. And lastly, there is the public art question. In addition to that, there are a number of outstanding detail items, but if you're comfortable with the plan overall, those are something that staff could review administratively. I'll be happy to take any questions.
Yes.
First of all, I apologize for causing you to pause there. I was physically reacting to you pointing out that we could tell them they don't need as big a parking lot because they'll have a lot of pedestrians, and then we could also tell them they don't need a pedestrian access to the building. Those two don't seem to jive. But in terms of the parking required, you probably, over 100 spots is a lot of parking spots. But I probably have to wait to talk to them about how many people are going to be sitting in there, right?
They would, yes.
Yes.
And there's, we would need a little more information about their business to make that assessment. We could look at the ITE estimates.
Yeah, well, you're new here. Okay, and it's my recollection from going through the master plan that someday we're going to more drastically reduce the parking requirements, and we haven't quite gotten to that yet. But we also have had a lot of new development just to the east where we've approved these PUDs with massive, very large residential developments that are towers where we're hoping to attract young people and we're trying to get them to walk. And we're hoping that this corner they will walk to. So that's another reason why I want to have some pedestrian access. But I guess I don't have much of a question, do I? Other than I need to talk to him. I'm sorry about using up your time. Michigan did win.
They only won by 21.
I guess there's.
So there's no hurry.
Yeah. Thanks for the comments. I think some of those changes are something staff has brought up to us that there is interest in digging into soon. I will say anecdotally, in my experience, the requirement of 85 or one space for 85 square feet of floor area is a little high compared to other communities I've worked in. So at first blush, I'd agree with the assessment that yes, the ordinance does require a lot of parking as it stands.
Steve?
Staying on the subject of parking, there are no parking islands and no landscaping within the parking. This seems to be right around that borderline of when we require, when do we require the parking islands and trees within the parking?
If islands are provided, well, actually, I think they don't. If islands are provided and an applicant opts to plant trees in them, there's a minimum area requirement that they need to be, but I don't believe there's a requirement that they be planted with trees. I also don't believe the ordinance has a requirement for a row of spaces to be broken up, but by an island, but I could be incorrect about that.
I tend to, Joe, you're probably the expert on this. I thought there was a at a certain point, there's a requirement for parking islands.
That is my recollection, sir.
Yeah.
I was very impressed with your comment.
But it's a decent parking lot with no islands and, no trees in it.
I'm also looking at this and wondering about a sidewalk on that small street if we're trying to get people to walk from all these new developments for a while.
You'd be coming from the back side, not the front side.
Yeah, I don't think there's a sidewalk along, is that Mulberry?
I know.
Yeah, Mulford.
Mulfordton.
Mulfordson. Put sidewalks on a dirt road. I don't think there's sidewalks along it today.
I want to make sure there's room for a sidewalk. And I believe part of that, they want to go further down with the parking lot than we would normally allow. And I think there should be room for a future sidewalk, given our long-term vision for that neighborhood. Okay?
There's a house at the end of the parking lot.
Long-term vision.
Yeah.
Long-term vision.
There's still a house.
There's nobody else with questions up here.
Yep.
Mr. Hart, are you doing the talking?
Thank you for getting us back on track, sir.
Good evening. Brett Hart.
Brett Hart?
Yes. 49494 Galeno Court, Macomb, Michigan.
Not a bad idea.
My name's John Jambaria. You need my address?
I need you to spell your last name.
Okay. Janviria.
J-A-N-V-I-R. Say it one more time.
Janvaria. Oh, spell it again?
Yeah,
Oh,
sorry.
Janviria. Sorry about that.
That's okay. Great. Thank you.
Okay, you've heard the questions and the concerns.
Well, let's start with their internal landscape islands, because, I mean, landscape is an important aesthetic. Given the parking requirements, basically, we maximize the parking spaces for the lot. If there's leniency, we'd certainly be happy to put some landscape islands in there for aesthetics, which would also help, offset the requirement for that east parcel being zone P1, where, we're encroaching over the 10-foot buffer, because we don't have room. So perhaps, with internal landscape islands, we could help offset those requirements.
So I have a question. How many parking spaces do you need?
Yes.
Do we need? Well, I would say we're probably closer to the 60 range, because there's like 2.5 people come in cars.
So we have.
This is a fine dining restaurant.
Yeah.
This isn't like a fast casual, like in and out. You're spending time here with your family. That's what the design is.
How many
So,
people in the building?
we'll be probably hoping to be in the 200 range. So divide that by 2.5.
How big are the tables?
We have different sizes, but, we're gonna have tables for 6.
4?
In this culture, there's bigger tables, like tables for 8, tables for 10, that they'll put together. We're gonna have a banquet room for parties. For, in their culture, that's a huge thing. So that's gonna be, it's definitely a family-oriented restaurant, but we're giving it a fine dining flair.
So that, that kind of goes into, us asking the applicant, what do they need in terms of parking?
Yes.
And it may address issues of buffers or more green space and maybe an island. So as opposed to a ton of asphalt or concrete. I'm done.
My question, I guess, if we just start from the beginning, you're kind of sharing what type of restaurant it's going to be. What type, and you're saying a banquet?
This is the restaurant owner.
Okay.
Hello, how are you guys? Thank you for being here, ladies and gentlemen. I didn't know you guys worked this late.
We didn't
So,
either.
God bless you for that.
Listen, we've been here till 1 in the morning.
A long motion.
So, my name is Nick Hanawa. We've owned this property since it was a pet supply. And I'm from Bloomfield Hills, Michigan, but I grew up in this area and pretty much grew up on Orchard Lake my whole life. So I got videos of me eating at Boneyard in 1997 or something like that. So this property actually means a lot to me. Some of you have seen me here before, and Mr. Schultz knows me because we were dealing with that car wash issue. And I listened to what the city had to say about the car wash, and nobody wanted a car wash, even though it was approved. But everybody didn't feel it was the right use, and I agree, you know. And one thing that I've seen over these past, you know, years, all that we've been losing these sit-down restaurants in Farmington Hills between 14 Mile and 12 Mile Road, because most of them are all gone. So I have a passion behind this project. It's not just, do I want to do this project? So just to tell you briefly, I'm an attorney. I'm also a real estate developer and owner, as you can see, and I'm an entrepreneur. I have a passion. I said when I was in my 40s, I'd get into the restaurant business. So I've been thinking about this. I'm 39 this year, so I'm very close to that. I'm start early. I thought about what could I do with this building. That's when I went and to a good friend of mine, Wael, who's the owner of Zarzur in Farmington, in Sterling Heights. The Zarzur restaurant's located on 15 Mile and Ryan Road. This is a very famous restaurant, and on social media, it's very popular, has a huge following. And we know for a fact that the customers that he's getting are coming from Farmington Hills, coming from West Bloomfield, coming from Novi, and these areas. And they've been asking him to bring this restaurant to the west side of town, from the east side of town, okay? And that also, you know, we've heard loud and clear from the restaurant customers that we have. So when I approached him with the idea, he loved it, we loved it, we've been friends for a long time. I said, let's put a Zarzur here. And now we're calling it Zarzur Prime. What makes it prime? What makes it prime is we're getting a liquor, beer, and wine license, which we have under contract in escrow right now. We are trying to put something here that's a high-class, fine dining, yet still casual. We don't want people to feel they have to be in suits and ties. Like John said, my architect, it's a family restaurant. You can come in with your family, with your kids. We have a private room. We want to be able to host, you know, a birthday party or a communion or a little baptism, or, you know, these small events like a graduation party like they do at Prime 29 in West Bloomfield and other places that have similar little rooms like that. So I was fighting to keep this location. 4 years it's been vacant right now. 4 years it's been vacant. I've been carrying the property, paying, you know, payments on it. The lender that I have, the property, the loan matured. So they're like, wait, that's vacant property. What are you going to do? And they're like, people were trying to get me to sell it to a piano place and just stuff that I personally didn't feel benefits the community, benefits the area, benefits Orchard Lake and what's going on. So that's when I brought this restaurant to fruition, went to Wael, and I'm actually not just excited, but I'm proud and honored to bring it to this community. I had the mayor, she came out, ate at the restaurant in Farmington Hills, loved it. I've been dealing with Christia, trying to just bring something. So what I'm bringing here is a concept that's something to be proud of. That's something that we should be all happy to have, because I think we're missing, you know, these type of restaurants, family dining. And, you know, we're really excited to do it. Obviously, I know we need a lot of variances, so we hope you guys can work with us. We're doing the best we can. Luckily, we own that land in the back that was undeveloped. We want to add more parking. My family also, just so you guys know, owns the Taco Bros next door. That's my uncle's restaurant.
Which one?
Taco Bros. The old
Oh,
Dunkin'
the Dunkin'
Donuts, yeah.
Donuts.
So that's my uncle's restaurant. My uncle owns that restaurant. The first guy that was here is my cousin, Haitham Hanawa, same last name. The coffee shop, Reed, I own a 7 Brew Coffee. I did that development in Roseville on 12 Mile and Gratiot. I'm the landlord for a ground lease that they have over there. And then the other two guys, this suit jacket's from Barron's, and the other guy was my tailor. So I'm like, what's going on today? So, yes, I'm like, what is going on today? But yeah, I'm just here to benefit the community. I'm just here to do what's best for this area. I think you guys are gonna love this concept. And we're proud to bring it to Farmington Hills. So please help us with all these things that we need to accomplish. So we appreciate it.
I think the question was, what fare do they serve? Is this
Oh, okay, so,
Eastern?
thank you. Let me get to that. So this is not a Chaldean restaurant. This is not a This is a modern Iraqi cuisine. So what this is, it's Iraqi Middle Eastern food. It's cooked over charcoal grilling, and it's shawarma, and that's the type of food that it serves. It has a Zarzur restaurant as an Instagram if you guys want to check that out.
Joe?
In all fairness, we can't consider the cuisine.
No.
We are
It's the
considering,
it's the
if you will, we're considering the structure.
Yeah.
It's
And I'm
multicultural.
really looking forward to eating it, but we
Good,
can't
good.
consider that as we discuss this.
Correct.
It's multicultural, it's Iraqi cuisine, but if you go to the current restaurant, you're gonna see tons of different culture there, not just Iraqi people or Middle Eastern
Yeah,
people.
the reason I was asking is you mentioned a banquet.
Yeah.
I didn't know what size that banquet was going to be inside the restaurant, so
Yeah, it's about a 70-person,
70.
room. So the current restaurant fits about the current one that's in Sterling Heights is 200 capacity.
That's much better,
So-
Thank you.
Danielle?
Is the building two-story, and are you planning to have seating up on the second floor? if
No,
it is?
the building is not two-story, and we do not play, that's from Pier 1, when it was Pier 1, they had some kind of design up there.
They had a mezzanine.
Gotcha.
They had a display mezzanine.
Thank you.
It'll be single-story.
So the other store is 200 seating?
Yeah.
Do you know how many parking spaces you have?
At the other store?
Less.
Less, yeah.
Less than 60?
Less than 60.
Less than 73.
Yeah. And so part of what they do to manage it is they hire a valet company that kind of keeps it all in check.
But the valet company has to take the cars somewhere, so that doesn't mitigate you actually having the cars.
I'm sorry.
The valet company has to take the cars somewhere, that doesn't mitigate you actually having the traffic of cars.
Right, so
And
they,
So given the area with the strip mall across the street, and they're wanting to put a strip of restaurants there, where exactly would you put the flow of cars?
that would have to be on the valet company to work out a lease with the managing or the adjacent properties.
Which is good.
One of your cousins.
There you, my
Yeah,
uncle's.
that's the
My
answer.
uncle has spots too, which we could utilize if
You're
needed.
gonna put it on your property. I mean, they could stack cars,
Yeah.
valets can do
Yeah.
whatever, yeah.
I mean, I think with this parking, it would satisfy, it'd be good enough, with what we propose for what we're trying to do. Because this is family, like if people come, they're gonna come, multiple people, and you're not gonna have, one person, 10 people pulling up in 10 cars. You might have one person pulling up with 5 people in a car. So,
Okay. Anyone else have questions? Steve?
Do we want to talk about building materials and, I mean, it does need to go to the ZBA and then
Pass all
come
these
back.
requirements, see, it all comes.
Or does it need to come back? But
Well, they have some deviations. But there's a question I have. So is some of this stuff grandfathered in? It's been there for so long.
Well, when exterior materials changes are done, that's what triggers a building need to be
Yeah,
brought
I
in.
know.
Yeah.
No, if you're gonna change the building, then you get stuck with the actual current zoning is, but some of the things that are there have been there all along. It's set at that particular standard.
So that could be a consideration, falls into what the practicality issue. If there's existing quality materials there, if you think the design works, that could be part of the basis to waive the requirements.
You guys know where I'm at.
Yeah,
I voted against the ordinance, and whatever they propose, I'm fine with. It's just building on a site.
We're looking at a site plan, and there's so many variances here proposed that it's hard for me to quickly find one of the variants they're looking for, So in other words, we're going to approve a site plan. Now, the one thing I mentioned earlier was about, I didn't necessarily want them to infringe on where a sidewalk might go in the future. But now I'm remembering this site pretty well. That parking lot to the west of the lot the south side, is that where the parking lot is right now? Because there's like a cliff there.
Yeah.
He actually.
So
called
I'm
that-
not going to make a point out of it. I was going to make a point out of it, but
Tion Sujak, Priority Engineering.
yeah.
I know you're going to need me to spell that one.
Let's do it.
First name,
Start
T-E-O-N.
again, that was.
T-E-O-N. Last name, Sujak, S-U-J-A-K.
Got it.
And if engineering's eyeballing me right now, it's because I fully engineered Mackenzie Green, the site that was just up, Sam Yoldo. Small world.
Yes.
But the answer to your question, yes. Right now, it's the western portion that's currently there. At that back corner, it falls off the face of the earth into a ditch to a crowned road.
Yeah.
The existing road is crowned, no curb and gutter, no storm inlet. It's all culverts. So if you wanted to extend a sidewalk down the road, you'd basically have to re-engineer the road to get it to ADA compliance.
You would do it on the other side of the street. Exactly. So I'm not making an issue out of it. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm reasonable.
I guess, can you just address the questions about the materials and, because it was sort of saying it's a bit unclear of what they are.
You want to go back to the elevation?
Are you able to switch that back to?
There you go.
The
So-
material, oh, sorry.
The vertical piers on the front facade, the west elevation, are made of, they're slabs of porcelain.
Okay.
So it looks like stone. The infill is ephes. And the reason why we didn't go all the way up with the windows is the joists sit at 12 feet. We're just extending the height of the building, so if we put windows, it would be like roof. That's why we didn't.
If I may, then those are windows down at the bottom.
Correct.
Right. Because I do believe strongly that the 60% requirement going back to pedestrian friendly and all that is, we're more concerned at the level where people are walking.
Yeah, that's almost.
Driving by
that's
to
probably
see inside.
75% glass.
Yeah, we don't care that much
About
about
10
above
feet.
it. Yeah, okay.
But isn't the ephes requirement, it's not on the first floor, it has to be on the second floor they can do, but not on the first floor? And it looks like, assuming that the ephes you're talking about putting ephes is where, partially where the sign is, not.
Yeah, it's up high.
Yeah.
Correct.
The parapet doesn't
They-
extend all the way.
We went through something last year where they made changes about materials and things like that. And one of them was not using ephes any longer, especially on the lower level, but it was allowed on an upper level.
Impact, yeah. 'cause
Exactly.
it's beat up. So we didn't.
Exactly.
If you look at the design, so the lower portion of the south elevation is all face brick. So that, like, you can't kick that in. The vertical piers is fiberboard on the south elevation that kind of make the upside down U's, call it, the darker spacing or hatching. And then the infill is ephes. So, and that's up 4 feet. So you're not really impacting it, shovels aren't breaking it. So it kind of solves your issue.
That was the reason why they put the restrictions on the ephes, is because some people could punch holes in it.
Punch holes in it, yeah. I mean, you,
But if it was above, what was the requirement above 6 feet? It was allowed above 6 feet, but not below, or it had to be above the first story, I think. Do you remember, Tom?
It's I think that is for the fenestration.
Yeah, the fenestration, we love that word.
glass.
It's a fun one. No, I think well, let me double check.
But I think that's waivable anyway, isn't it? Yeah. Just didn't want it on the lower level because we're having too much problems with people damaging it and not getting properly repaired.
I mean, if we have to elevate the brick higher, it's
No,
a minor adjustment to the elevation.
Are there any changes we want to make before, or no?
I have a question.
I don't want to.
Eric? Yeah, so the on the elevation diagram there, the height of the front of the restaurant, the Orchard Lake facing, approximates where the display window for Pier 1 was, but it extends the whole.
Right. We
portion-
squared it
portion of
off,
that
so the
portion of
building is,
Yeah,
the
it's
building has
larger,
is more of a square elevation.
but it's
instead of-
not usable space. It's not even gonna be display space like Pier 1 had. It just.
It just gives curb appeal, is what I'm trying to create.
Right. Thank you.
Presence of like grandness.
Thank you. Yep, that's exactly what
That's
would be
the
my
plan if you
impression.
let me do it.
Right, yeah.
You want a motion to get this thing at least started, work out the issues?
You have a motion.
Okay, I move the approval of site plan 52-2-2026, 31-130 Orchard Lake Road, be approved as presented, subject to variances on all required setbacks, variance on the dumpster location, get a variance on, parking setback. The outdoor seating, is that our call?
Open space require,
ZBA's call.
ZBA's call, yeah.
ZBA's call, subject to ZBA's call on the outdoor seating. I'm okay with reduction in parking to 73 spaces. And even if they want to work with staff to get it less than 73 and throw some more green space in to eliminate a setback for whatever, knock yourself out, I'm fine with that. I don't need to see it again. So, but 73 less, you can live with it?
You have to add an extra handicap parking, I think. There was they needed 3.
Oh, I don't have one. I don't have a draft. Do I gotta have, they gotta do the draft thing again?
Yeah, we didn't get that one.
Sorry, guys, I was gonna try to do the abridged version.
All right, you're doing good.
Okay.
Jerry,
We're
agree with
okay.
something.
Be approved, subject to the following. Okay, we're accepting what, 1 through, they're basically all the review letters and things that you're required to do. Required to, including the condition, 1 through 5, as referenced in the report here. And the staff will provide the applicant with a copy of the motion. Item 6, I think we have an issue there that the planning commission has to make a determination. Pedestrian connection between the building and Orchard Lake Road is required. The commission choose one. My recommendation is to waive it, requirement. I'm open to discussion on that if somebody wants to make an argument. Also include the applicant must modify or eliminate the 2-foot gap, 2.09 gap between the proposed addition and the adjacent screening wall. You guys should be able to design something to fix that one that staff can review. That's required in my motion. And that the site is in the 14-mile northwestern Orchard Lake Road, special planning area and public art. I was going to ask cost of construction. You got an estimate on cost of construction
Cost of construction costs?
for the restaurant? Are we exceeding $2 million?
I know the civil's 825, 825,000.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're gonna probably be over the 2 million mark, to be honest.
Okay, well, then, if,
You think so?
You have to bring art.
yeah, I think that if over $200 million, that we would like to see some presentation of public art on the site.
Either that or it's going to be on site or a contribution, remember?
There is a contribution,
Yeah.
Like the tree fund.
It's like the tree fund.
like tree fund? Okay, so if you're under it, you're not required. If you're under $2 million, not required. But if you are, we're looking for either a contribution or some sort of artistic presentation you'd like to make on the site, I guess location working out with staff, planning?
Yes.
Okay. And number 9, Exterior modifications are proposed, and so they brought into compliance with the city's design standard 34.5.2. The Planning Commission grants a waiver from building material requirements and the findings that the following apply. I'm recommending, or I'm moving a waiver to the requirements of that. What they're presenting is acceptable to me. And number 10 is that we're talking about the exterior modification of the code, and so the building must be brought into compliance with the city's design 34.5.2. How is that different? 9 and 10 are different in what respects? Grant waivers from the building requirements. Staff, help me on that one.
It may be referencing different design standards. I don't have the copy in front of me, but if it's, there's multiple waivers involved with the design standards, so it would just be a repeat
I
of
would waive
the-
that one as well.
Yeah.
What they presented is acceptable to me in terms of their concept and design and vision for this restaurant. And that number 11, signs are not approved with this site plan and are subject to the standards in the section 34.5.5 of the zoning ordinance, and that's a separate permit. That's my motion.
Second.
You want to repeat that?
No.
Been moved.
Could I clarify one thing?
Please.
So the parking standards, the way it's worded in this suggested motion is that they would require variance from the zoning board of appeals, but I have on the screen showing that the planning commission
Yes.
may waive the reduction based on one of these items here, whether walk-up customer, foot traffic, availability of transit, seasonal nature of operations, unique operational characteristics of the site.
So I already covered that. I explained about how we're trying to make this a walking area with all that.
Right.
So just say that due to the fact that we expect walk-up customer foot traffic, your motion includes.
Cheryl, you got that? That's me.
I understand what he's saying, and I'm really going to depend on the recording for this.
So, Joe?
Okay.
Joe, are you then saying that we need the pedestrian walkway?
And I
Because it's been waived in the current motion.
Yeah, I waived it. I waived it. Because there's a practical issue, practical difficulty, if you will, not to be run up to ZBA, but.
And what was the practical issue?
I think it's practical issue if you come in off the side street, but not off of Orchard Lake.
There is a sidewalk on Orchard Lake.
Right.
No, this wasn't the sidewalk. This
Yeah.
was the sidewalk
road.
from Orchard Lake. There should be a way to walk up. There should be some kind of sidewalk so that people aren't
Or
walking
marking
on
the
your driveway.
No.
That's what it requires, right?
Your front door.
Yeah, I'm okay with
Front
that.
door is
Yeah.
right there.
Markings, you're talking about markings within the parking lot.
Not from the
Right, a
sidewalk.
pedestrian walkway,
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'd have
From the
to,
sidewalk on Orchard Lake
putting that back in.
To your parking lot.
you'd have to eat up the drive.
up to the restaurant.
I also,
A yellow line is right there on that.
Okay, yeah, I'm
Like
fine.
right there.
I
That yellow
don't want to
line.
waffle, but I'm
If
fine
I-
putting that in. You guys work it out with staff.
Okay, so the pedestrian walkway is not waived, it is
Back in.
included.
That's it.
I do have a
Okay.
To be worked out
Question,
with the
if I'm-
staff.
Work it out with staff. Yeah.
do have a quick question. So the requirement would be for an actual pedestrian, essentially sidewalk or path, not an area within the drive connecting the existing Orchard Lake sidewalk to the building. Is that,
Oh, is that what we're talking specifically?
yes, yeah.
Like right where that yellow is
It
fine.
It could be anywhere on the frontage, but and that spot would make the most sense, but it would be an additional path connecting the sidewalk.
Because it's hard to waive that and reduce the parking because there's going to be a lot of pedestrians
Okay,
at the
I'm
same
okay with
time.
that. The yellow
Right?
highlight, yeah.
Yeah.
there's
Okay,
also a
Tangi?
question as far
Not
as
a biggie.
the,
Is that the front door?
I guess
variation.
it's a committee thing. We're gonna make it work.
Yeah, no, just-
Like it.
in other words, you can walk from the sidewalk
Yeah.
to your
Yeah,
building.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
what it's about.
We get it. It makes sense.
We'll cut that patio back a little.
Joe, you got that?
Amount of, I have it.
They have two in the picture, but
Yeah.
Mary's pointing out that it should be.
What's your
three.
handicap parking going to bump up to from 2?
Should be three?
It should be 3.
Right, add one.
Yeah.
That'll be caught with the building, that'll be caught with the building department.
The older population has the money to come to your restaurant.
Very true.
Is that it?
It is.
Is that it, Steve?
We got a second?
Second.
Okay.
Who seconded it?
Who
I thought I
seconds?
did.
Yeah, he did.
Manti did, yeah.
Not, just not the parking?
Okay, all those in favor of approving, say aye.
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 Those opposed, same sign.
Good luck with the ZBA.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Have a great evening.
So, Mr. Chair, we're about to vote for officers.
Yes.
I plan on voting whoever promotes the longest bathroom breaks. If I may have a moment.
Sure, go ahead.
As you know, Mr. Chair, as we get older, we have to go more often,
Well, you do.
Joe.
unless you're carrying a bag. While we're waiting, there was something in our little envelope, and I actually was talking to Tom about this earlier. There's a proposal with the legislature to change some of the requirements of minimum lot sizes from 1,500 square feet. Guess what? There's legislation that's been proposed to reduce the minimum lot size. So if we had a 15,000 square foot lot requirement for RA1, we couldn't go necessarily that high.
Fight it.
Would that be a correct assumption, Mr. Attorney?
I think that was a fair description. I think people should read the handout.
Yeah.
But I think.
And handout was there, I just happened to
Yeah.
find out another way, but when I opened the thing, I saw it, and they said, whoa,
Yeah.
there it is.
It's a very significant change to the concept of zoning in Michigan and local home rule as to whether communities get to decide for themselves what their
I rated S.
residential lot sizes should be, but, you know, it is favored by lots of people, but also opposed by a lot of people. It's gonna be an interesting conversation. You should all,
Did Matt make a recommendation on it?
they apparently are for it.
They're
No,
for it?
this, it was in our
About the
packets,
single-family zoning.
inside
Oh,
there.
yeah. Wait,
Yeah.
This is
Right,
the
right, all
thing,
lathered up
it's gonna
about that.
set minimum, a maximum.
Because
For
the
it?
state has minimum
Oh,
lot
no.
size
It's gonna
requirements.
require
Well-
cities to go down to 1,500
Is-
square
Put us all in context.
sorry, what was it?
Talking about the state.
Oh, yeah, no, I know. Do we support it?
Yes, but I
Oh,
guess my
MAP.
question
I
is.
think
is
they
the
kind of,
planning board
they sent out a
operating,
qualifying statement.
by
saying-
We're on break.
following at least minimum
They walked it back a little bit.
guidelines from
I
the
think,
state?
yeah.
So each city or municipality can make it bigger or
Barry?
small, however they see.
Barry, you want us to take a position on that? Should we have,
I don't think we're ready.
we don't want to do
I-
that?
Well, I
Certainly not
talked
tonight.
I
to,
think it should be thoroughly considered before they do anything rash,
Sure.
right?
well, yeah, we can talk to our state
Density of
legislatures about
densities and
not
lot
supporting
sizes.
this.
Part of their character.
Tom, is this the package of bills to lower the cost of, make housing more affordable?
Supposed to be the benefit of it.
I believe that the benefit is to make more housing potentially available, yes.
We're all.
Okay.
How?
They call it
And
money.
when I ask you how, I want to also ask, how does this impact eminent domain?
How would it impact us?
No, how does it impact eminent domain?
Eminent domain?
I don't know that it would impact eminent domain, I'm not sure.
So if the state begins to regulate lot sizes, and then they roll back the fact that they can no longer just arbitrarily come into a city and call eminent domain to then take your home, then that puts people in a precarious position to lose their homes for progress. You know, like,
No, they're not talking about taking your homes, they're just,
now I'm not
it would be
talking,
vacant, it would be vacant lots before development. And they'd have to also they also have to change divisions of the lot sizes because the normal division laws would not allow that many divisions of one lot. So that's another portion of this thing, is they're going to be changing the amount of divisions allowed on a parcel.
I think it's probably, in all seriousness, probably something that you could get some handout on and know a little bit about, because I think you're gonna hear more about it in the next little bit. Either it's gonna die, or it will become a serious conversation, and we can.
Big issue.
I believe it has,
Planners, sort of lay it out for you, so we're not doing it on the fly.
I believe it's been done in Oregon, and I believe it's been done in California, maybe with some limitations.
Where did you get the notification, Barry? I didn't hear the beginning of the conversation.
Sorry?
In your packet.
It's in our package.
Yeah, there's a MMO in the folder.
I learned about it, somebody else sent it to me to ask my opinion. But we had a discussion about this a couple of years ago, about these small communities where you have like a cottage would be a person's home, and you could put a whole bunch of them on one lot. But I think we talked about that when we were doing the master plan, and we said no.
Right. But so now that you've stirred up the conversation, we can add some to that.
Good, let's have a discussion about it.
We do have it in our package, so I recommend everybody read this thing.
Are we missing one down here? Eric didn't have.
Yeah, I didn't have that.
And he's thirsty, he didn't have any water.
And no water.
You can have.
There's water here. I'm holding.
Are we ready to vote on officers?
I got some, but yeah. I was looking out for him.
Okay.
I was looking out for him.
I guess I didn't understand when Barry was saying it.
I'd had water, I'd have talked even more.
Yes, I need another one.
John, are we,
This is not the MMO. I thought it was.
I think that's why. I see what's happening here.
Get you something a little more accessible on what this
John,
is.
are we ready to vote on
how
officers?
it's really helped.
Vote on officers?
Yeah, unless you want to make it a midnight event.
Yeah.
Let's.
That's why they need the.
Okay, we're to item, whatever it is, election of officers. I can make motions now, Mr. Schultz told me.
Always good.
Yeah, but you kept that under that dark curtain of, oh, it's a law. Let me explain it to you. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, I would nominate Eric for chair and Tangi Grant for secretary, because we need one.
Who did you nominate for chair?
Eric.
How about vice chair?
Who's vice?
Can we back up a little bit?
Who's vice, yeah.
Let's start by
Well,
explaining.
we can take a motion and then have a discussion on it.
Okay, well, let's start by explaining how elections work, because when the elections were done last year, it wasn't explained. And then I came in one day and we had new officers. And while I can, but I didn't start missing any dates yet. So I was thoroughly confused because I did not participate in an election. So I would like to understand what the process is. And while, no disrespect, Eric, but he just got here, so I'm.
Well, he's had 20 years at zoning board of appeals.
Hence why I'm asking the questions, so that I can understand process, policy, and then we can move accordingly. So if anybody would be willing.
Well, in the past, we have officers for 2 years. They're one-year positions, but we usually vote for them for 2 years. And there's a progression situation where you start off as secretary, then vice chair, then chair. And John's been the chair for 2 years. Dale was the chair before him.
Got here.
And so the problem that we have right now is that our vice chair resigned, and our secretary is about, if she hasn't done so yet, she's gone?
Yeah.
She's going to resign too. So we don't have a progression situation where we have someone that's moving up the ladder. And so we have to start. And normally, once the chair has done it for 2 years, they come back to be one of the normal rabble like the rest of us. and then the next person up goes. So we don't have a next person up or the person after that. We have no one moving up the chain because they left. So we nominate as a group the different positions. But that's the way, you don't have to do it that way, that's the way we've always done it.
No, I appreciate the explanation. And I didn't, and I also didn't know that Kristen was stepping down or.
Yeah, she
away.
stepped down.
So,
February. Mr. Travlick.
Yes.
So, Tom, maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong, but if there are, we will vote on a slate one at a time, and if the slate is not affirmed, then there's an opportunity to vote on another slate. Or is there an opportunity for nominations, alternative nominations, or self-nominations, if people are interested in the particular officer positions?
And I would maybe to address that, I'll amendment to your motion to recommend Danielle as vice chair. So we have a slate of 3, Eric, Danielle, and Tammy, for chair, vice chair, and secretary. And then the progression that we talked about.
So I guess an answer.
To that.
Was chair too.
I'm sorry. I'm done.
You were chair at one time.
So you can design this process the way you want to. It just depends on whether or not you get a majority vote for it. So in the past, it has worked well for it to essentially be a slate. But if for some reason that were not to get a majority vote, then you would design a different process and probably take them one at a time. But right now, the motion on the floor, as I understand it, as amended, is 3 people.
Can I ask a question as far as the position and the timeframe? You say it's a 2-year? 2
No, it's
year?
1 year.
1 year.
Chair is 2, but then
No,
we
the
traditionally.
Secretary.
No. In the past, the officers are elected for 1 year.
Okay.
But they can do it, they've always done it for 2 years.
Okay.
And so when we actually have the new officers, we just nominate the same people the next year. And then after that, then we move up the ladder, and as in this particular case, John would be stepping down as chair, and whoever the vice chair was would be moving up, and whoever the secretary becomes the vice chair, and then you get a new vice chair. But we don't have that option right now because the parties that were the vice chair and the secretary have resigned.
Okay.
Plus, it gives you a lot of time to train, to see kind of like where you're going. So eventually, when you're in that position, you can kind of run the meeting and, so you're leading up, okay, secretary, vice chair, chair.
And if you've never had dealt with Robert's rules, you can watch the chair hopefully the chair knows Robert's rules, and so they can run the meeting. So that's basically what goes on.
Or ever since I started, I mean, it's been a learning.
And so far, I think even Steve was the chair after you, right, Dale?
No, before.
Huh?
Before.
Oh, you were, okay, it was Steve, Dale.
I was chair during COVID, so I didn't have to deal with an audience so much.
Those were the good old days.
I got the easy
not for
time.
me.
It was all Zoom. Okay, I'm gonna point here, point
You
here.
didn't have Marvelous Marvins to deal with, lucky you. You did.
I did marvelous. It was marvelous. Very
So-
patient.
So normally we bring people that haven't had the opportunity, then they get to move on. I've never been on that thing because when they asked me, I said no, because I'd already done that with the other group, so I didn't need to do that. But so the motion that was made was that Eric would be the new chair, and you're going to be the
Danielle's
secretary,
vice.
and Daniel's going to be vice chair?
Right.
I second.
He already, okay. He already did.
You already second? Okay. Play chair, do the vote.
Are you voting?
Well, wait, we have to ask them, do they want to do it?
Yeah.
No, you don't. You don't have to ask them?
I have,
To you.
asked,
I mean, it's true, you don't have to ask.
You can always step down.
I agree.
You agree?
Yeah, yes.
Here?
Yeah.
On the hot seat.
I move that we close nominations.
Second.
Moved and second. All those in favor of closing the nominations, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign.
And the slate?
And the slate is,
I had.
But, no, you already have the slates, you just have to vote on the slate.
right.
I did Robert's rules.
What did-
You're just gonna, you already have the motion for the slate, and we shut down nominations, so there's nobody else being nominated for the position.
Right.
So then you have to vote on the slate.
Yes. Cheryl, let's make this a roll call.
Commissioner Stimson?
Yay.
Ware?
Yay.
Conigan?
Absolutely.
Lindquist?
Yay.
Grant?
Yes.
Brickner?
Yes.
Mantee?
Even though I never heard anybody's position on bathroom breaks, I say
gave you
I
my
vote for it.
position.
I didn't hear the candidates speak
okay, I'm sorry.
on that important issue.
Chair Treflet?
Share common ground.
Yes.
And then we say,
I assure you.
then we have to say the magic words, and may God have
I'm
mercy on
currently
your
on a
souls.
medication.
Okay, John,
Normally,
let's get the next
I would
item,
be the guy.
Okay.
so we can get out of here.
And I was the guy.
I thought we were
First
doing
2 meetings
breakfast.
that I sat.
I move on the minutes.
I
Second.
Conigan and Stimson, is that?
On the minutes.
Okay.
All those in favor of approving the minutes of February 19th?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, whatever.
Hey.
I wasn't there.
It was
yes.
special and regular.
Yeah.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay.
Okay, John, great job.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you for your service.
Well, we're going to go
About
around.
the meeting.
We're going to go around.
We're gonna go around.
Oh, wait, I gotta find
Oh,
that.
that's a nice stay tuned.
Put that in.
We don't have public.
We don't have public
public comments.
comments.
There's no public comments because they all went home to go to bed. Commissioner staff comments. Joe?
Thank you, John, very much for a couple of years of putting up with all of these people.
Oh, no, it starts over there.
I know it does, I know it does. And congratulations to the new team. Yes. Looking forward to working with you.
Thanks, Jill.
It's okay. It'll be okay.
I would like to say, Eric and I had the pleasure of meeting with Ben Carlisle this afternoon. We gave him our opinions of the way the world should be. If you haven't done that yet, it's a good idea to make the appointment through Nora and talk to our, it's Mike? Well, are you gonna be the guy, or is Ben gonna be?
It'll be mostly me going forward.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
May God have mercy on your soul, too.
Thank you.
It's a question.
Okay.
As part of the minutes from the February 19th meeting, we did a motion to schedule a special planning commission meeting on March the 12th that did not take place, so it's
No.
okay that it still stays. in.
Really?
It has to be, it'll have to be
I
eliminated.
believe it was canceled, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was
Diane?
canceled, but it's okay, nothing has to be amended or anything like that, okay.
Okay. Do you have any comments?
Yes, I do. Thank you, John, for your confidence. Full disclosure, John asked me if I would be willing to serve as an officer. He did not tell me that I was going to be the as chair.
I did
But I appreciate the confidence in me. Like Barry said, we did meet with the new planning consultant today, and I felt it was very productive. And so for those of you who have not had a chance to attend that yet, if there are some, it's very, very, very worthwhile, so make time for it. Joe raised an interesting issue that I would like to learn more about, which is about the projects down Mulferton and the new residential there, and the need for legitimate walking access to the restaurants that are on Orchard Lake Road, et cetera. And I would be curious, I don't know who will be able to tell me this, but what we do about influencing the construction of a better roadway along that, probably one of the worst roads in all of Farmington Hills. It's that little stretch of Mulferton, and it's been that way for 20 years. So, but that would be a very, very nice gateway to those residential complexes and also an access point from those residential complexes to Orchard Lake Road, at least the east side of it. So I'd be interested in learning about that.
Does staff have any idea what the status of the bowling alley is on Northwestern Highway?
What about it?
No bowling.
No bowling, they're gonna tear it down and build this giant apartment complex, and I just wanna see where it is.
I
Who
know
voted for it.
Western. You mean where the
Any ideas?
Emerson's, what,
Ballet Park.
John, the
Nothing.
Emerson, the Emerson's supposed to be built where the bowling alley is, and right now they are scheduled to be before the Brownfield Redevelopment Authority seeking funding for taking down the building, and it has asbestos in it. So that meeting is going to be in April, and it has not been scheduled yet. So, but I guess they are planning on moving forward. They have to do something because their plans were approved a couple of years ago, and they'll run out of time.
Okay,
But they're seeking funding.
thank you.
They're also still going through engineering review.
I'm sorry?
They're still going through engineering review right now as well.
I couldn't hear you.
She said
They're going through engineering review.
Oh, okay. Mike, I could hear. I was having a hard time hearing you.
Could you talk loud?
But it's up, you can ask Tia, it's up before,
Make a motion
it's going to
to
be up before
adjourn.
the Brownfield.
I'm good.
Make a motion to adjourn?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Oh, it's
Opposed,
not.
same sign.
Those in
Oh.
favor say bye.